3 coplanar points, and bam, there's the radius of the Earth.
On the level.
The way I phrase it is a monument to the curvature of the Earth. It really is.
Level.
It really is.
Level.
And bam, there's the radius of the Earth.
Why? Because you're assuming that the horizon is a hump, and it's not.
No.
Yes, you are, Rumpus.
It's a point in space, you twat. It's got a particular distance away from you.
Parallel to the horizontal. That's how we started off, Rumpus.
No, it's not. You're a moron.
Yeah, it is. The horizon is parallel to horizontal. All horizontals are parallel to the horizon.
No, they're not. Horizon.
Yes, they are. That's how they are defined.
From an aaeroplane, and you will see the horizon is below the horizontal.
Yeah, you're saying the drop.
Yes, parallel to.
The horizon is below the horizontal, and therefore it's not parallel. Well done. So anyway, going back to what Randy said.
Do you not know what parallel means, Rumpus? Rumpus, this is shocking.
You can come in later. I would like to answer Randy's point.
Oh dear, Rumpus.
I would like to answer Randy's point. Then I'll come to
That's pretty gnarly.
I'm trying to come to.
That's bad, Rumpus.
And then I'll come to you. I'll come to you in a second. I'm trying to answer Randy's point.
Yeah, but that's gnarly, Rumpus.
Here we go. Let's suppose there's a boat.
Do you not know what parallel is? No. First of all, you're obviously not going to bring up what I asked you to.
I want to answer this point about
the basics, Randy. Remember,
you have to tell us
the basics.
If you had a boat on the horizon, Randy, was it Raki? You're a moron. Yeah, you're a science denier. You don't know any science, do you? You're a moron. You're a science denier. You don't understand any science. You couldn't work out an equation for your life. You've never done any equations as far as I'm concerned.
Rumpus.
Yes?
Come on.
He's not interested in even talking.
No, you ever taught me, Paige, as you always do.
No, I was asking you to repeat yourself, darling. I didn't hear the last word you said.
Okay, all right.
Or something matter? Or so... Look,
right.
it's matter,
right, let me explain.
or something.
I mean, we'll come back to the refraction in a but let me just finish this off then. Right, so the gas can be very successfully modelled conceptually as just solid balls bouncing. Now, obviously, if you actually want to do a physical experiment and actually do this, you've got a problem in that balls are not perfectly elastic. The bouncy balls, the hard rubber balls are very close. Oh my God! Can I just finish the sentence?
No, you told me to.
Oh my God!
Because bouncy balls
we don't want to listen to it. We don't need to. No, we don't need to, Rumpus. It's all right.
Nearly there.
I just wanted the
nearly
word,
there.
the last
I've
word
nearly
he
got about
said,
10
and he
seconds
just can't
to
even
go.
give me that
I've
one
got about
last
10
word
seconds
that
to
he
go.
said that I
You
didn't
asked
hear.
me a question how we would model it, and I'm trying to give you 10 seconds.
Don't ask him questions.
You asked me how we can. You wanted a demonstration, and I was describing how you could do one. Right, so if you listen and let me finish my answer, and then you take your turn, we'll get on much better. So you can model. If you take a very hard bouncy ball, they will behave a bit like a gas for a short period of time before the some friction and air resistance gets involved. But they will behave largely closely to how a gas behaves, and the models that we use that describe gases successfully do that. Go ahead.
Right, before we carry on, right? Can I say? Don't ask Rumpus any questions, please. You address questions to somebody else other than Rumpus.
We'll be here all night.
No one asks Bev any questions because he'll just give you a crap answer. That'll make things a lot easier as well.
I agree with Bev.
He doesn't understand level and horizontal.
Rumpus shouldn't even be here.
Just don't ask him any questions. He'll give you a completely invalid answer.
Rumpus. Randy, the last few times Rumpus has come in, he's been kicked immediately, so he's going to be desperate to insult everybody he possibly can while he's here, because he hasn't been allowed to for so long that he's going to want to get it all out.
Who's insulting now? So, you're doing the provocative, competitive.
I didn't insult you. I just said what.
No, I didn't insult you.
What happened to you?
I didn't insult you.
I didn't say you've been insulting people here already.
No, I haven't. Well, okay, but I'm insulting Bev, but then he is one of the most...
Exactly.
Okay, I'll
so you're going to keep going, are you?
Okay, I called Raki.
Can we just get rid of him?
Okay,
and I called Bev stupid.
Rumpus, what have you come here for?
We do want... Yeah.
What are you...
You are stupid. You're very stupid.
Rumpus, what have you come here for? Exactly.
Well, you would. Well, I was just going to describe the refraction thing you were having a problem with, and you made a statement that provoked me just now. I can't remember what it was you said now. Oh,
Well, can't you control your emotions?
No, I am. I'm just be quiet. So, for instance, you don't understand. See, there you are. You're talking again. You don't understand, for instance, that one comment you don't
Please,
understand
Ranty.
is that when light is refracted downwards,
Yeah, it was good when Brandon just booted him as soon as he did this shit.
Let's try again. If light refracted downwards, it raises things up. This is something that no one in this panel seems to understand. It's very odd. It's very simple. I can show you a diagram now if you'd like.
Now no one understands Rumpus.
Well, do you understand that then, Paige? Do you understand that if light
Yes,
bent
we
down?
understand what you say can happen in your model. We
No,
are saying your model is not
no.
reality.
Do you understand that if light bends downwards, things are raised up? Do you understand that concept?
Rumpus, do you understand that other people can understand stuff?
Bev, let Paige answer. Please let Paige answer.
just said when light bends down,
Stop
things
interrupting
go down.
Paige, Rakia. I'd like Paige to give an answer.
Look, I'll tell you what,
Just stop
Rumpus, you
interrupting.
treat everybody
You're
else like
interrupting
that,
Paige,
but no man
Rakia.
tells
You're
me what
interrupting.
to do.
That's
You're
right, Rumpus.
interrupting Rakia.
You need
I'd
to
like
leave.
Paige to
You suck.
answer my question. Whether
If you
she
would like me to
understands.
consider it as a concept, yes, absolutely, I can understand your concept.
Right, so you
Rumpus, not a
understand
problem.
if light is bent downwards, then things are raised up. You understand that?
Is that
That's
the
not what
concept
Gently
you
just
want
said.
me
It's a
to
geometric
about?
thought. Yes, so it's a geometric thought experiment for you.
Absolutely,
Do you
I can imagine
understand?
anything.
Right, so you can understand that geometrically it's required that if light is bent down, that the object you're looking at, if you're an observer and light is bent down, it's a necessary geometrical consequence
geometry
of that.
with light, Rumpus.
Let me stop interrupting.
You're doing
So
geometry
you
with
interrupt
light.
again. Here we go. Let's try it
Light
again.
geometry.
Do you understand that it's a geometrical
Hey, I'll catch y'all
necessity
later.
Rumpus.
that if
See you,
light is
See
bent
you,
down, the
Ranty.
thing you're looking at is raised up? Do you understand that concept?
I can understand any concept, Rumpus, yes.
Do you understand it geometrically follows?
Light doesn't
Don't
do anything
interrupt,
geometrically,
Bev. Don't interrupt her,
Rumpus.
Bev. You
No,
interrupt her.
Rumpus, stop
Don't
asking
interrupt her.
stupid
Don't
fucking
interrupt
questions.
her.
Yeah,
It's
Rumpus,
fundamental
you're
to
asking
understanding how refraction
me
works.
to make that concept reality.
Right,
So
but
no,
do
I
you-
won't.
right, but do
I
you
can understand it
understand?
as a concept,
Okay,
yes.
no,
I
no,
will
want
not
you to
say
understand
that's
the reasoning.
reality.
Right, no, I want you to understand the reasoning, Paige. If you have light bending down, it's a necessary geometrical consequence. Right, okay, so we'll take the premise as the if, but do you understand that if light is bent down, then it's a necessary geometrical consequence that things will be raised up?
No.
Do you understand that?
Rumpus,
And I
you're talking
understand
shite.
if I bend down and I keep going too far, I'll fall over. I can understand that too. What
So
does
you
that
understand
matter
then
to
that if
reality?
light is bent down, that the necessary geometrical consequence of that is the thing you're looking at will be raised up. You understand that?
Can I ask a question about that, Rumpus?
Well, I'd very much like Paige. I don't know why people keep
Rumpus,
interrupting Paige here.
Rumpus, we've just watched a light
Yeah, no, but
disappear.
it's not-
Now, how can that have been raised up, you knobhead?
My question. We'll come to that, Bev. We'll
Rumpus, there are
come to
many
that.
other people here that
I know.
have done
Why
a
are
lot
you being so
more
reluctant?
with
Why
flight
are
than
you
I
so
have.
reluctant? Why are you so reluctant to sort of discuss
Because out
geometry
of
here?
all the people that are here at the moment, Rumpus, there are people who are better equipped to talk to you about what refraction does. If you want to talk about, Coriolis or something other than light, fine, but light is not my subject. There are ranties here, there are other people far better equipped to
Well,
talk
you
to you
made
about
statements
this. So,
about refraction here, and I'm just wondering if you understand.
I said anything about refraction.
You did. You
I
asked.
never
You were
said
asking.
anything.
Well, you have commented on it. You were talking to it
No.
with gently. You were discussing it with gently.
Rumpus.
Right. Well, okay. It's a very simple concept. If light bends down towards you, then it's raised up. But if you don't want to talk about it, then fine. Then Bev can make the point, whatever point he's trying to make. Go ahead, Bev.
I wasn't making any point. We were just finished, Rumpus. You've come in and Rumpus the shit out of it again.
Well, you don't understand refraction, do you? Oh, okay then, Bev. Let's try you. Do you understand that if light bends down, that will raise things up? Do you understand that?
If light bends down, things will raise up. No, light doesn't
You don't
affect
understand
the
that.
object at all. We
Yeah, we're
did
talking about how you
did that
perceive
at the
it.
beginning.
Yeah, we're talking about we know the object's not moving. I'm asking you how you perceive it. How will it appear to an observer if the light is bent down? Do you understand it will cause
Show
the
me
object to raise up?
some bendy light. Go on, show me. Let's see a picture of it, and I'll show you what I think. I'm
Okay,
observing.
I've got a diagram here of some light in some room refracted. This thing that same experiment that Ranty did. So I'll share my screen. Okay, I'll share my screen.
Yeah, while you're setting out.
Why are we talking about this
question.
light now?
Well, you just asked me to do something for you.
No, you are talking. You want to talk about this, do you?
You're talking about refraction, aren't
Are
you?
you doing a presentation now then to explain to all of us what refraction is?
You're talking about refraction, and this is subject number.
Are you doing a presentation right now on what refraction is to teach everybody? Because you've just told us we all don't understand it, what it is.
Correct.
You do.
Correct.
Right, so now, wait a minute, Rumpus, just to make sure everybody understands what refraction is, everybody that's here, please ask Rumpus to make sure that he teaches you so you all understand what refraction is.
Great, so well done for that introduction. So here demonstrates, I've got this lighthouse, as you can see hopefully here, and the light from it is bending down. This is what happens in the atmosphere due to the density gradient. The light bends down. So here we've got an observer at this point here, and the light bends down, and the observer presumes that the light is coming in straight lines, which means that to the observer, the lighthouse here appears... Let me finish, nearly there, only 10 seconds to go. This is where the lighthouse appears to be for an observer as a result of refraction. So here is where the lighthouse really is, and this is where the observer
Rumpus,
perceives...
that's not to scale, is it?
5 more seconds, Bev, 5 more seconds.
You meant to be explaining it to us. Slow down, I know.
5 more seconds, 5 more seconds. So 5 more seconds, Bev, then you get your turn. So this is where the lighthouse appears to be to an observer over here, where I've got my pointer. Hopefully you can see that where it's underneath the word up. This is where it actually is, and of course that doesn't move. This is where it's perceived to be raised up. Go ahead, Bev.
That boat.
What a load of crap.
It's not.
Well,
it's not on a horizontal there, is it? Rumpus. 5 more seconds. 5 more seconds, Rumpus. 5 more seconds, Rumpus. 5 more seconds, Rumpus. Yeah, then you can go then, Rumpus. 5 more seconds. 5 more seconds, Rumpus. 5.
Go ahead.
5. He won't stop saying go ahead.
5.
You can go.
I'm stopping, and you can go ahead now.
5.
How can you say you're stopping and then keep on going?
Well, he's implying that I'm not stopping.
Just stop.
I have stopped.
No, you haven't. You just said something then.
You're not making your point. Go ahead, make your point, Ben.
Stop.
Okay, that boat isn't on a horizontal water. It's going downhill.
It's not. You don't understand.
It is.
Downhill
You've got a floating lighthouse.
We're talking about refraction here. We're not talking about...
That's a floating lighthouse, Rumpus. You've got it in a picture. There's a picture of a floating lighthouse.
That's what... See, well, I haven't drawn...
You've there then said that you can have that lighthouse, like, lifting up from under the curve. So nothing disappears over the curve, does it not? What is it you're trying to say there, Rumpus?
Right, can you see this red line?
We already know that you think that level is a curved line that drops away.
Exactly.
And now you've got floating lighthouses.
As with every surveying book says, and you're a moron for not understanding that.
Listen, Rumpus, I'm not the one that has pictures of floating lighthouses.
A single surveying book, if you don't understand that level and horizontal are two different things. Every single surveying book starts off explaining that, and you don't understand it, which means you're either a fraud,
so
I don't have,
or a liar.
Don't have floating lighthouses.
Are the same.
Hey guys, I'm back.
On the side of the road.
Well,
I missed that.
Rumpus is
sorry,
here.
I missed that page. I have to say again.
Yeah, just one second. I'm back. Hold on, guys. I'm just gonna say I'm back, guys. That's all. Just calm down. And the Rumpus is obviously here because the revs are off the chart right now. Let me just quickly shout Cleary out for hitting the super chat, who says the horizon is the convergence point between the sky and the ground. Which one is solid? Which one are you closer to? So thank you for the $5 super chat there. Right, okay, Rumpus.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Rumpus. If he saw Bev stop and talk to that surveyor on the side of the road.
A meaningless conversation.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Sorry?
I haven't seen that expressed. Well, he didn't really understand what Bev was asking. If
So
he'd
you
asked
did
him-
see it,
Hold on,
Rumpus, then?
Let me answer. If he'd understood that Bev was asking him to say that level and horizontal are the same thing, he'd have said, "You're an idiot, moron. Go away. Don't talk to me."
He
And
did ask. He said, so level is horizontal. Yeah.
Well, he didn't
So not
understand the
curved,
question.
and the guy
He
goes,
didn't understand.
"No."
Look, the point is, forget what
Rumpus.
he had a
Oh,
little
wow,
chat.
Rumpus.
Forget what little chat he had with
Wow.
some guy in the street. If you read
No,
any surveying book, it will tell you, and I can show you if you like.
So
I've
you'll
actually
take the book
I've got
over
a
the
PDF
actual
file here.
person
I have
doing
got a PDF file here from
I
a
can
surveying
write
book,
anything in a
which
book.
Right,
shows
okay.
you the difference. And clearly, Bev has
I can
never
write
read a
anything in a
surveying
book.
book because he's
He
never done any
asked an
surveying.
actual
He has never
surveyor.
done any proper surveying. It's quite obvious.
Rumpus. It was a guy in the middle of doing his job.
Well, he just probably wanted Bev to go away, but doesn't compare with a book on the subject
So
page.
Right.
arguing
So
for
who do
is
you
Hold
take
on.
notice
You can
of?
write anything
Do you
in a
take
book,
a
Rumpus.
book notice of a book
Okay,
for all
hold
surveyors,
on.
or you take someone in the street? You
Hold
go to
on.
the book.
I will
Hold
take
on.
a surveyor on the street doing his job. Yes, over a
Yeah,
book.
how about one on
absolutely.
YouTube, like The Main Surveyor or Jesse Kozlowski or Larry Scott, professional surveyors
Oh,
who
yes,
understand the
absolutely.
question.
I'll take what they
And
did
they give
yesterday.
you the right
Absolutely.
answer. They give you the answer that's in the surveying books, and some guy on the street, okay, he has a chat with them, which is unclear
No,
what
they gave us the same answer. Gave us a flat bridge that was only 7 point whatever meters above sea level. Sea level.
Yes, what about sea level? Yes, which is curved, yes. Like as in this diagram.
Have you got a curved level plane? Is that exist in your
Planes are defined as
He
being
lives on a disco ball.
planes
let
are
him finish.
defined as being just two-dimensional and
Right.
straight, if you like, along there. Anything.
Okay,
But
so
level.
so you
but why don't
can't
but why
have
don't
a
you read- why
level
don't you read a
plane then,
surveying
can
book?
you not?
Why don't you read a surveying book, Bev, and
Because we'd
actually
rather
find
talk
out what
to
level
the
means?
surveyors.
You don't
the actual
talk to
ones that
no,
do
no,
the work
no, you
out
don't
on
talk to
the earth.
surveyors. There are surveyors available
Yeah,
for
he-
you to talk to on YouTube, and you
No,
talk to them.
no.
And-
No.
and
We're,
I
we're
went
done
through
with
the
them,
video
Rumpus.
yesterday.
Let me get you the PDF book.
You
of
should
the
have.
surveying book.
Did you
so
watch it
understand.
yesterday?
Oh, let me
We're
get
done
you,
with them.
Let me get you the book I wrote about unicorns. Now
Yeah,
you
but this
must
is
believe they're real
but this
because
is
I wrote a book on it.
used to teach surveyors their job, you idiot. This isn't just something I've
So-
made up. This is the authoritative
So if
book
that's the book to
of
teach them,
surveyors
why
in
wouldn't
the
you take what the
UK.
actual
This
surveyor
is
is
their
saying when he's
textbook.
doing
This
his
is what's
job?
taught to them. This is what they have to know to become a chartered surveyor.
Rumpus.
Something that Bev knows
Yeah,
nothing about.
Rumpus.
everything is done with Cartesian
Just
coordinates
a
on
minute,
flat
Paige.
plane using vertical and horizontal. Go for it, Bev.
1 second. The surveyors. Why do they struggle when we ask them about the water level? Then wait. Rumpus,
You
why?
had some random chap, some
Why?
random guys probably.
No,
I mean,
no,
it could be
no,
just
not
the day job,
Rumpus!
you know.
Not
He was not a
some
chartered surveyor. You don't know
random
he was a chartered
guy.
surveyor. He was probably some guy who was just doing a little job for that day. He was probably some
surveyor.
minion of a surveyor,
Even
just asked
Rumpus,
to take a measurement.
even
And you
people
just
like
asked some
you.
random guy on the street, you've no idea what qualifications
Rumpus.
he had.
Pointless.
So why don't you read a book on
Rumpus.
surveying, Bev? You might learn something.
This is why Rumpus is coming here,
This is why,
Ranty,
yeah.
because the water level pains these people that much
It's
that they
perfectly
can't
fine.
understand. They can't even have
Oh,
a
we understand
conversation
perfectly.
about it.
You're the one who doesn't
The fact
understand.
that
I
water
understand
levels
perfectly.
show
Oh, yeah,
horizontal.
he's allowed to interrupt me, but I'm allowed to
Okay,
interrupt
right,
him.
listen, hold on, guys, right, one at a time, please, right, listen. WS asked me to share an image. Apparently something that was put in the side chat, somebody asked SE Montreal, hang on, let me just tell you what it says. SE Montreal asked a surveyor in the street, and he drew it. So, here we go. I'm presenting it now. Can anybody tell me what we're looking at here?
Ranty, can I just say, can you have a look in general, please?
I can tell you.
And just look at the last thing that Nappy has said to me. There has got to come a point where these people are told they're not allowed to say these kinds of things.
Are you crying?
Bev needs to stick a dick in your mouth so you have something to live for. What the fuck is that?
Hey, you're a fucking crybaby. Like,
all the
You
time.
Come on.
disgusting piece of trash.
You can say whatever you want to say,
Is that
but
the
when someone
best
says
you've
that,
got, Sean?
you're
Is that
crying.
the best
You're
you've got?
garbage.
Can y'all take this to another room?
Get rid of her. She is awful.
This is not your channel. This is not yours. I'm sorry.
So
How
you
y'all
think you
doing
can
this
just
here?
go around telling people to stick dicks in other people's mouths, and you think that's acceptable, do you? You are
Why
a
are y'all doing
charming
this here?
woman.
Okay, you're innocent though. You're so innocent.
No, I've
see
never
exactly
said, but
what
I
you're
would
doing.
never say
see
that
what
to
you're
somebody.
Right
Or tell
through it.
them that I
Paige,
wanted
would you
to
call
kill
someone
them.
senile? Would you call someone senile, Paige?
You call
Is
people
all
If they're
this-
demonstrating that, yes.
You would. Okay, well they're not though. So even
If
but
they're
if people are not,
demonstrating it, yes.
so is George
Big
senile
difference between being told to stick a dick in someone's mouth, isn't
and
it?
calling them
Paige,
senile?
what are you doing,
in your mouth.
Paige?
Shut up.
So
Paige,
it's acceptable to
what are
call
you
George
doing?
senile, is it? That's
Can we
acceptable,
talk
is it?
about the
Acceptable to call
surveying?
someone a pedophile
Paige?
enabler, right?
Hey, Paige. You
It's
get what you're
acceptable to
doing,
call
right,
people
Paige?
communists, right?
Hey, Paige. You get it?
Paige, is it
I
acceptable
can't
to
hear
call
you,
George
no, 'cause
senile?
they've talked all over
This
you.
is a distraction. You're falling right into it.
So Paige,
Yeah,
is it
don't
acceptable
play
to
this
call
game,
George
Why don't
Paige.
they
senile?
get blocked? Why aren't they being kicked out of the server or kicked out of the
Why
show?
are you talking to him?
Should you be kicked out for calling George senile?
I'm
Paige?
muting him.
cares?
Why is that?
So what about the surveying? No one cares about you, Nappy. We care
Yeah.
about the surveying.
Just
Do
mute
you know
her.
anything about surveying? Do you know anything about surveying? Do you know anything about surveying, Nappy?
Doesn't know anything about saying, and he's talking. He doesn't know what level and horizontal are, as demonstrated by the fact that he doesn't agree with the books on the subject.
Yes, we know what you think, Rumpus.
No,
We
I know
wanna
that. So
the facts.
hold on. So, Raki, have you read a book on surveying at
Have
all
you,
ever?
Rumpus? Have you seen my proof?
What are you talking about, man?
Hold on. Let me just talk to Raki for a moment. Raki, have you ever read a book on surveying?
Are you asking me if I know how to create a horizontal? Is that
No,
what you're
I
asking?
asked you. No, that wasn't the question I asked. I asked if you've read a book on surveying.
Yes, and it taught me how to create a horizontal.
Right. Did it describe what level is? So,
Yes.
have you read a
Level.
bit in the book
Having
that it
no
tells?
curve,
Right. So, have you read in the bit of the book that you've
not
read?
falling away.
So, have you read in the book that you said on
Parallel
surveying?
lines
Have
to
you read
plumb.
the definition of level?
Rumpus.
Hold on, I'm asking.
talking
Like to
Yeah,
hear
but
what
you're
Raki's
waiting
answering.
for an answer that isn't gonna come.
Well, he.
Yeah.
Well,
He knows it's horizontal.
I want
It's
to know if he's read in a book the
horizontal.
definition of level in a surveying
I
book. I
just
want to know
told
that.
you. I just told you what horizontal was.
No, no, you're not. You're
Yes,
dodging my
yes,
question again.
I did.
Right. So
Not
you've read. So let me
falling
get this
away.
right. You've
No
read.
curve.
You've read in a surveying book what level means.
To plumb, horizontal.
That's
Two
not the definition of
horizontals.
level. If you've read, so you haven't. It's quite obvious you haven't read a surveying book, Rakia, because you're not giving me the right
Quite
answer.
obvious, Rumpus.
So, Rakia, have you got a book on surveying? Do you have access to a
Horizontal
book?
is level.
Right. No, let's answer the question. Stop dodging it.
Not
Have you
curving.
got a book on surveying anywhere?
Not at the ready.
Right. I suggest you get one. I suggest you get one, or get one online. I can provide you with a PDF book,
You go survey.
and I can give you a PDF book of the authoritative book for surveying used in the UK, and it would go through a great deal of surveying issue. And the first thing it mentions, the first chapter, is what the level and horizontal mean.
I don't know anything about the UK. I know what horizontal here
Right.
is
Okay.
in
There's
the
another.
US.
I've actually got also
It's
a book.
level.
Okay,
Not
there's
curving.
also I've got a PDF book from an American guy. I can't remember his name now. The one that's also been around. I think he may have died now. I believe he's a classic surveying book, and he also describes what level means. I suggest if you don't like British books, you go and get an American one on surveying. Then
Rumpus.
you will find the Stop
Rumpus.
interrupting, Bev.
No,
Hold on,
I need
Bev.
to.
I'm nearly there. Stop interrupting. Stop interrupting, Bev. Right, so Rakia, I suggest you go and get a book on surveying. Okay, I will in a second. Honestly, I will in a second. I just wanted you to go and get a book on surveying. You said you haven't got one. Go and get one. Finish.
I said not at the ready. I'm
Yeah, okay. Well,
driving.
go and
You
go and
didn't
get
hear
whatever.
that because
Okay,
when
well,
you
whichever
asked
one
the
you've got access
question
to,
before,
go and
you
look at it.
didn't Shut up.
So go and look at your book then. If you do have access to one, go and read it.
Yeah. it
Shut
taught
up,
me
you
that
ponce.
Horizontal
Oh, there's a
is
dickhead in
level
here.
and has no curves.
It does. We see you haven't read
Doesn't
your book, have you?
deviate.
You haven't read your book. If you had read your book,
Did you
you
hear
know.
what I said?
Yeah, you said something that disagrees with the book that you've supposedly got.
How did you hear the end? You started talking.
Okay, go ahead. Say again, and I'll shut up.
Horizontal is what we create. It doesn't curve. What book do you need to know that that's any different?
But you don't work with horizontals. You work with levels, and those are curved.
No, I work with horizontal.
No, you yes. And do you know why? Do you know why you go in little steps around the things in little 100-meter steps or something? Because you're following the curve. Each little horizontal that you've got there is slightly different to the previous horizontal, and therefore you follow a curve. That's why you do it in small steps. If you worked on a horizontal, you'd only ever need to take one sighting. You'd never ever have to take any more. But it's because you're on a level that's curved, you take lots of sightings across a whole distance and do all this back foresight business. That's why, because the Earth is curved, and to get a level, you've got to do lots of little sightings.
You know, differential leveling is what you're talking about? Yeah, that's how you create, guess what? A horizontal.
No, you create a level. And if you'd read a surveying book, you'd know you're creating a level.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, can I just come in for a second here?
Okay, Racket, you go get your book. You get your book. You come back here tomorrow. You come back here with the definition of level from your book, and we'll take it from there. Go ahead, Bev.
Okay. Now, this goes for Dave as well, right? Do you know how to prove something to yourself, Rumpus?
Philosophical question. I don't think we really need to get into philosophical questions.
No, this is stuff. You can prove things to yourself, right? In life.
The only thing you can prove. No, the only thing you can prove is mathematics. That's the only thing you can prove.
Geometry.
It's not provable.
Geometry.
Yeah, geometry you can prove.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Yeah. Guess what? Lines and horizontals and right angles. That's geometry. So we're dealing with horizontals right now. You can prove things to yourself in life.
Curves feature in geometry,
Rumpus.
Well,
Rumpus.
He's trying to tell you something.
No, he's not.
You won't shut up.
He can't tell me anything.
You won't shut up.
Rumpus.
I can't make it.
Okay, so here's okay. Listen, here's what we're gonna have. So we're gonna have one at a time, where one person, when they finish, then they say I finished, and then the next person can speak. Please. Rumpus, stop interrupting, and anybody else interrupting Rumpus, just let the person speak. Right, okay, Rakia. Was it Rakia that was talking?
No, it was me. Right,
so
Bev, go ahead, make your point, and then Rumpus, listen to his point. When he's finished, he'll tell you he's finished, and then you can continue. And if anybody interrupts you, I'll just serve and mute them, right?
Well, I'm sure we can learn the lesson.
Okay, so, Bev, go ahead.
Right, so in life, there are things that you can prove to yourself. They're mainly through geometry, and the practical use of geometry is surveying. So anybody that works with a level has proved to themselves what that level is. It means it's an equilibrium. It's not higher nor lower. And they are parallel to the horizon. Horizontals parallel to the horizon. Therefore, horizontals are parallel to each other. That's the basis of surveying. That's how you measure a vertical change. So what I was saying is that once you've proved something to yourself, then it doesn't matter what you've got a book that says, Rumpus. Because there are every dictionary, you can open it up and it will say level is horizontal. It's a tool for establishing a horizontal. So once you've proved it, I don't care what your book says, because I've proved it to myself. Dave's obviously the same. And you obviously haven't proved it to yourself. You've just read something in a book.
Have you finished there, Bev?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, cool. Right, okay, so you get a chance to respond now. Rumpus, go ahead.
Okay, well, Bev has just demonstrated why he is a complete ignoramus and ignorant.
Don't start with the ad homs. He didn't ad hom you.
That's all he's got.
Okay, but the point is he's just talked about the horizon. You will find nothing nothing in surveying books about horizon. It's got nothing to do with horizontal. The fact that he brought up that subject makes it absolutely clear he knows nothing about this subject. What's more, the horizon is not horizontal to you. You can show this, that even an idiot with one of the little horizontal apps, the theodolite apps you can get on smartphones. In airplane, for instance, you can easily demonstrate that the horizon is not your horizontal, and you can even demonstrate it, as has been done numerous times by people, that that the horizon is below the horizontal. Even you only have to go up a very small distance to show there is a drop and the horizon is below the horizontal. And it's got nothing to do with surveying. And the fact that he thinks it has got something to do with surveying makes it absolutely clear he's never done anything professional in this regard. He's never read any books on the subject, and he doesn't understand the basic geometry. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Paige, if you want to make your point.
Why don't we bring up the etymology of the words horizon and horizontal on the screen to show Rumpus?
Etymology is
Would you object to that, Rumpus?
Yeah, etymology has no meaning whatsoever to the meaning of words. We've got lots of words. Let me finish. In etymology, you can find lots of words where the etymology actually contradicts the meaning of the word. So the etymology of the word is actually irrelevant. The point is, in a surveying book, and any surveyor does not use the horizon for anything, and it's not mentioned in any surveying book. And the fact that he thinks it's relevant means he knows nothing about this subject.
I said horizontal are parallel to the horizon,
and you're wrong.
What?
The horizon is not parallel to the horizontal. And
just find a definition of horizontal anywhere. Anyone. Just have a look anywhere.
Has nothing to do with surveying. Horizons have nothing to do with surveying. And the fact you think they're relevant and the fact you think they're parallel just confirms you're an idiot.
Why are you listening to this, Ranty? I mean, listen to what he's saying.
You know nothing about this subject. You know nothing. You don't even know that horizons are below the horizontal.
Stop!
You can Paige, you could go and invalidate this now. If you've got a theodolite app, if you go flying, get your theodolite app on your smartphone, and you will see that the horizon is not horizontal, and you can contradict Bev yourself.
Okay, so Rumpus, what you're saying is that when you try to line up the horizon with a theodolite, you're going to see a drop through the theodolite, right?
It's not horizontal to your location.
Okay. So, did you see the presentation?
No, don't agree with him with an okay, Ranty.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm trying to move on to the subject that we were talking about before.
He's recognising my argument, Bev. That's all he's doing.
No, I'm not. I understand your argument.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You understand the argument. You're not necessarily agreeing with it, but you're understanding it, which is more than Bev can do, because he doesn't even understand you have horizontals are local and they change depending on your position. He doesn't even understand the globe model to even contradict it. I do, because it's fundamental. It's fundamental. He doesn't understand what horizontal is.
He
doesn't
keep saying that.
Every location.
Keep saying that, Rumpus.
Anyway, you were trying to make a point. Go ahead.
So here's the thing. So Bev's talking about a physical thing that you can actually do. We're talking about optics, right? So, did you see the presentation that was put forth before?
I did scan back in YouTube to see something in a garage when a little light, they opened up a garage door and there was a light that was visible at one point, and as the garage door opened, the light disappeared. Is that the pit you're making?
That's it, yeah. So what do you think happened there?
Right, so as you open up the garage door, clearly some cold air came in and that changed the refraction conditions. And as you saw, the thing started to wobble around a lot more, the objects. And so there's obviously the air that had come in either be hot or cold and therefore affected the refraction conditions in that warehouse.
Okay, so I'm looking at your screen and you've got this image up that you keep presenting all the time.
Because you don't understand it. Yeah, because you don't understand that light bending down causes things to raise up, and neither Paige doesn't.
Why do you have to add? Hold on. Why do you have to add that?
Because he doesn't understand it.
Let me finish.
You can't ignore the fact that he doesn't understand it.
So
Bev doesn't understand it, and you don't understand it. None of this panel understands it.
Right, Rumpus.
Right, Rumpus. So in this image that you have looming, right?
Yeah,
you have
correct.
The objects looming, right? So you've just seen a video where you saw the object sink. Why haven't you got this in here? Why is it always looming in your model?
Okay, because the density gradient in the atmosphere always gives looming. Now, as we know, that it's a bit slightly controversial to use the word looming. Looming is an extreme form of being raised up, but I'm going to call it looming just for ease of use here. Looming means things are raised up, and that's a natural consequence of the fact that the air is denser at the ground than and becomes less dense as you go up. Now, when you open up the garage door in that thing, that's a local effect. That's not a universal. This effect I've got on screen is a universal effect that surveyors, in fact, use, and that's why they use a 7/6R, because they know that things are raised up.
Well, let me just stop you there for just a second. Let me just stop you there for just 1 second, because what you have on screen is a diagram. You don't have anything in reality. What was presented before was something in reality, so I would have to disagree with you on that. This is a diagram.
Which represents reality, yeah.
But it is just a diagram.
Which represents reality.
But what was shown before,
it
matches
reality.
It matches reality if you believe it's a globe. It matches reality if you believe it's a globe.
And any surveying book that makes the correction for refraction also includes this concept of refraction causing things to go up, and they understand that's the result of being on a globe. And of course, all surveying books allow for level because they know it's a globe.
Well, it's funny how we've never ever been able to demonstrate any kind of looming or lifting up of the objects, but we often see, in fact, more often than not, the sinking effect. So, it was demonstrated. Well, no, it was loomed. No.
Less loomed. That's just
It wasn't less loomed over 100 meters when we could see the light, loomed. And then we weren't able to see the light. That light was not loomed at 100 meters.
We don't know that. We don't know the status of that floor, but what we do know is that when the garage door opened, the refraction conditions, and you can see the wobble in the other objects, that the refraction conditions in that room changed dramatically. Now, whether hot air came in, I suspect it was cold air coming in. Well, I don't know. Who knows? That then caused a flow of air of different density, because it's different temperature, different air of different temperature at the same level is this different density, and therefore you're going to change refraction conditions. And the fact the other objects wobbled demonstrated the refraction conditions had become unstable and were changing with time. I mean, if you could see the flow of cold air, you would have seen that it was coming in a sort of wave, and then that was causing refraction conditions to change.
So I think in conclusion, my point is basic. I'm going to let you guys carry on in a minute. Is basically just that this image that you're showing right now, which you've shown around for at least the past 18 months that I can think of. Who's talking? Hold on, Rocky. You robot in there, mate. Couldn't hear a single word you were saying. Right, so my point is that this image that you're presenting, which is just an image, it's just a diagram, it's not reality.
Which reflects reality, yeah.
And if you think for the past, 3 years, I've been asking for proof of looming, and this is the best you have, whereas we've had a guy come on this evening and show sinking, and many other times, actually, we've had people come in and show sinking, and yet we haven't been able as yet to be shown any kind of looming.
Yeah, but Ranty, can you have looming? Can you have looming
many examples of looming? With many examples of looming. For instance, the Soundly image of the Marriott Hotel shows the hotel rising up under certain conditions, where the horizon. Well, it was very close to the horizon normally, and then it shoots up. That's looming. We've got.
How do you know it was looming? How do you know it wasn't sinking? That just returned to its normal shape?
Because we know the normal position is that it's lower, and then it raised up. We also have the Joshua Nowicki stuff, where we see things that are not only loomed, but they're towering, where they actually become stretched. So we have lots of examples of refraction.
But we don't have one thing lifting up behind something else, do we? That's the one thing that I've been asking for the past 3 years.
Yeah, well, you may have been asking for that. Yeah, but we've got it raised up. We can see
You've never produced.
We can see things that have been stretched upwards, Randy. That's all we need to see.
So you've had stooping and towering. Yeah, you haven't had.
Which is looming.
No.
Don't you
understand? No, listen. Let me finish.
Looming is a uniform thing.
Okay, let me finish. Let me finish. So the horizon in your model is an obstruction, and something behind that we see, obviously, because in your model you say that it has to be being raised up, right, behind the physical obstruction, which is the horizon, right? So there's a physical obstruction, and it's loomed up. Hold on. So how come we have never, ever been able to demonstrate?
We have demonstrated numerous occasions.
Just let me finish. We've never been able to demonstrate an object, but whether it be a house or a tree, and then another object behind it that is completely hidden, that is somehow then magically lifted up so that we can see it above the object that's in the foreground. That has never been able to be ever shown. No, yeah.
The Josh and Wiki video shows.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Let me finish. The Josh and Wiki video of a 24-hour sequence of the Chicago from the other side of Lake Michigan shows that we can see things that were previously invisible. They've been raised up above the horizon.
No, it wasn't. I've got it on. I've actually got that video, and I actually rewound it too. And there's not a single building that's lifted up behind something else. That's just
It's lifted up behind
the
horizon.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes, there is. The bits of the building you can't see, and then as the looming occurs, you can see more and more of it. It's very simple.
What? That's loomed up? What? Behind what? The other building?
Behind the horizon.
No. We're talking about a physical object.
Yeah, like the horizon.
You're turning. Hold on. You're turning the. Hold on.
Don't you think water's physical?
Rumpus, do I have to mute you? I don't want to mute you because we're having a conversation and I'm getting somewhere. I'm just owning you. You don't even know it.
You don't know how stupid.
Maybe you do know it. That's probably why you just keep talking over me.
No, you have to. Okay, anyway, make a stupid point.
No, there's no stupid point because I just specifically said to you, removing the horizon. I talked about an object like a building and another building behind that. One building being lifted up behind another building, not the horizon, because we all know that the horizon is just the area. No, it's the area where things get mixed up.
It's water and physical, Ranty. Are you denying
No.
Yes. You're denying that water's a physical object.
The water is a physical object. Well, of course, water's a physical object. We're talking about optics, though.
Yes,
so my point still remains.
So in other words, we have
you have not
being lifted up.
3 years. You have not in 3 years produced a single proof.
Josh and Wiki.
No, you haven't. Prove it. Prove it right now. Bring it up right now. Bring it up right now. Bring it up right now. Show us. Bring it up immediately.
Okay, well, I don't have it to hand, but I'll see if I can find it.
Okay. Well, you go ahead and do that, and
let me give an answer before I do it. You've had 2 minutes or 3 minutes, mostly uninterrupted by me. So let's get this straight. The horizon is a physical thing, and the reason you want to have a building raised up behind another building. Let me finish. So the thing you want to see is one building raised in front of another, but the buildings tend to be very close together. So you would have to have. Remember, this refraction occurs over many tens of miles. So you would need to have something that was a good 10, 20 miles between them to see this effect. And the easiest way of having this happen is with a horizon.
With a horizon. No, we want a physical object.
Listen, I know you want to interrupt me and try and refute try and distract.
No, because you want to go back to horizon again.
Yes, because it's a physical thing.
Because now you're just making excuses as to why you can't do it.
Why?
You're just making excuses.
Rumpus,
you're just making excuses.
Water on the horizon is a physical thing. Why are you denying that water on the horizon is a physical thing? Why are you denying that?
You've just made an excuse.
It's just as good as a building. It's just as good as a building.
Again.
Why do you think water's
No, it's not as good as a building. Why? Because you're assuming that the horizon is a hump. And it's not.
No.
Yes, you are, Rumpus.
It's a point in space, you twat. It's got a particular distance away from you.
Parallel to the horizontal. That's how we started off, Rumpus.
No, it's not. You're a moron.
Yeah, it is. The horizon is parallel to horizontal. All horizontals are parallel to the horizon.
No, they're not. Horizon.
Yes, they are. That's how they are defined.
From an aeroplane, and you will see the horizon is below the horizontal.
Yeah, you're saying the drop.
Yes, parallel to.
Parallel
to.
The horizon is below the horizontal, and therefore it's not parallel. Well done. So anyway, going back to what Randy said.
Do you not know what parallel means, Rumpus? Rumpus, this is shocking.
You can come in later. I would like to answer Randy's point.
Oh dear, Rumpus.
I would like to answer Randy's point.
That's pretty gnarly.
I'm going to come to.
That's bad, Rumpus.
And then I'll come to you. I'll come to you in a second. I'm trying to answer Randy's point.
Yeah, but that's gnarly, Rumpus.
Here we go. Let's suppose there's a boat.
Do you not know what what parallel is? No. First and foremost, you're obviously not going to bring up what I asked you to.
I want to answer this point about
the basics, Ranty. Remember
You have to tell us
the basics.
if you had a boat on the horizon, Ranty, you'd accept that was physical, but for some reason you don't want to accept a piece of water is a physical thing for some strange
Who
reason.
said that?
It's
When
no
did I say a
different.
piece of water is not physical? I did
Right,
say the
excellent.
water
So
was
why
physical.
are you claiming
Because you're
that's not
now turning it into a globe. You need a globe to have a horizon, my friend.
Right, but do you understand there is a horizon, isn't there? We can see on water there is a horizon, and
The
there are
technical-
things obscured. There are
Well, if you
things
wanna-
obscured behind it, and then under various refracting conditions, things get lifted up above that. And that's exactly the same as what you're asking for, with a building being raised up behind another building.
No,
The
we're
water's just
asking for
another... if you want to...
buildings.
Okay, so let's suppose there was a boat on the horizon. Would you be happy then if we had a video of a building 10 miles behind that boat being lifted further up above it? Would you be happy with that?
No,
Would that be an
because
example?
we're looking for a stationary object, something that can be measured. You know, a known distance to. Hold on. A known. Hold on. A known
Why do
distance.
you care about boats and water? Why do you think the water can't be
You
measured?
won't listen, really.
Why do you think the water can't be measured?
Do you know something? I gave you
Yeah, he forces
the
you to have to
opportunity.
mute him.
I gave you the opportunity to speak. You know,
No,
uninterrupted.
not really.
Uninterrupted.
I got interrupted by Bev.
I gave you the option, and when I tried to speak,
Go
you're
ahead.
just talking completely
go ahead.
over me.
Go ahead.
So, obviously, when we're doing these things, we're talking about physical objects with a known distance, known height, something that we can measure and go back and film time after time after time. And what's really interesting here, Rumpus, is that I had this star pole that I always filmed from the same location with the same star pole that was in the foreground with the buildings of Barrow behind it. And guess what? Never loomed, my friend. Their relative positions never changed.
Be the conditions where you are, but but that doesn't mean you can't deny there's not looming going on, because
What,
if
you
the
mean-
looming, listen to what I'm answering. Listen to my answer. If something is loomed all the time, you would not be able to tell that that's happening. You would just see what you see. The fact there's no distortion doesn't mean to say there's no looming. And if you knew anything about refraction and the density issue, you would know that everything is being loomed up, and that's why surveyors allow for that.
Do they? Right, okay. Right, well, let's go back to Bev, because Bev's surveying here. Right, hang on, let me just do a few shout-outs first, actually. Right, okay, Godzilla. Rumpus's audio is low. That's a blessing alone and worth $5. Thank you very much for the super chat there. Dank says, for $5, what Godzilla said. Thank you very much. And we also had another one from RM Skillen, who says, if a P1000 can bring boats back after they disappear, why can't they do it with the sun? Well, RM Skillen, I actually have that video back up to play, actually. I might actually put it back on now, actually. Let me just bring this over, because this was the video that was put out just about an hour ago on the show, something like that. Let me reshare it with you guys so that you can remember what was actually... there we go. Just let me reshare my screen. Just one sec, guys. Right, there we
Can
go.
I say something?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead. Jump in.
Well, earlier he was saying you can't equate the horizontal in surveying to the horizon, and then turned around in the next statement and told everyone to take a theodolite in a plane and point it towards the horizon. There would be drop.
I said horizontal. I didn't say point at the horizon. I said show the horizontal in the app you can get, and that will show the horizon is below it. That will show the horizon is below the horizontal. That will show the horizon is below the horizontal if you use a theodolite app on a smartphone. Are you not aware of this?
Rumpus, how'd you get your name?
Well, how did you... Irrelevant. I'm educating you here. I'm educating you here.
Right, okay, well, let me... Okay, well, before
that's
you...
because you're too stupid to learn.
Okay, well, before you argue... Before you argue,
It's
listen,
just an
listen,
insult,
guys,
that. It's not an argument.
I am presenting something, and this is in direct response to the super chat from RM Skillen, who says, if a P1000 can bring boats back after they disappear, why can't they do it with the sun? Right, okay, so obviously if you look at the center of the screen here, you have a bright light. Obviously that's the light that we're going to be focusing on, and as we play the video, we'll let the doors lift up, and there we go, doors lift up, and what happens? The light is going to dissipate and fade away, and yeah, there we go, it's gone. You've just seen a sunset.
Can you see the
on a flat plane?
Can you just see all the objects moving up and down due to refraction there?
I can see that. Well, I can actually see the a little bit of waviness.
No, if you looked at the foreground objects, you'd see them waving around all over the place. Yes, but the point is that we can see mountains that are not just missing.
Well, that's Fermat's principle.
No, you don't know what Fermat's principle is. If you have a huge mountain,
okay. So I've just said. Do you know what it is?
Of course I do.
Deviation from straight, right?
How many times?
No, it's not deviation from straight at all.
Oh, is it not?
No, it's not. That's a consequence. It gives you that, but that's not the definition of it. Fermat's principle is that the light will go the fastest route that it can to get from A to B. That's Fermat's principle. And that will cause it to bend if you have a refraction conditions that are changed.
And what's happening?
So when we're talking about, for a start, we don't know this floor's level.
We don't need to worry about. Hold on. We don't need to consider whether the floor is level or not. That is an absolute no. That's a red herring, and I'll tell you for why.
I'll explain.
No. Listen, you can explain all you want, and I'll tell this now for my audience. And that's the simple fact that you can see the light constantly before he raises the door. It doesn't matter whether the floor's level, bumpy. It makes absolutely no odds. You can see the light. It is there. There's no obstruction between ourselves and that light. We see it.
That's right.
You don't know that it's not being refracted. If the floor
there.
Yeah, that's right, Ranty.
Due to refraction, it's not there, Ranty. Due to refraction, it's not actually there. It's slightly off from that. And this floor, if this floor was warm, which I suspect that it is, and it's warmer,
you can see it, and then you can't see
refraction.
It. The floor doesn't move.
Refraction. You can possibly only see it due to refraction.
The floor's the same in both of those things.
Yes, and refraction will cause you to see more or less depending on what the conditions of refraction. Exactly. Well done, Rack. So Rack has demonstrated there that he's actually a little bit brighter than the rest of the panel.
He was joking, Rumpus.
So it's not.
Jeez,
you've got to give some credit there. Rack is a little bit got some.
He was taking the piss.
Activity in Racky's head as opposed to the other guys. So Rack is actually not stupid as he appears, and obviously he has actually got a book, which is more than Bev does. At least you've got a book on. At least you've got access to a book on surveying.
Yeah.
Bev hasn't even got access to a book on surveying.
Right? Can we go back to the parallel lines, Rumpus?
Yeah, let's go back to these parallel lines if you want. I mean, we can have a look at these here. Do you want to talk about these parallel lines?
It's got to do with them parallel lines. The same. I mean, parallel lines are the same, aren't they, Rumpus?
Yeah. These parallel lines. You see.
Well, those lines are parallel.
Okay, so you see,
that's got nothing to do with horizons.
Before you go all bananas again, Rumpus. Okay, so you see this back row here, the tall one with all these little markers on. They're 2 centimeters apart, I think. Yeah, 2 centimeters. So that bottom one, which is let's just say it's an unpainted one, there is the same height. Is the same height as that black one. There is the same height as the 70 and the 90, the black one. Right? Can you see?
Yeah, I bet you don't know that for a fact.
Yes, you do, because he measured it and he showed it us on the video before. But I'm not going to rewind it to show you that. You can see it here. Actually, you can see where he measures it. Oh, actually, no. Do you know what? I will. There you go. There we go. There he's measuring it. Can you see that?
So the bottom of that. So that's the bottom of it on the floor. Will that be on the floor? That bit there.
That's 2 centimeters. Okay. The black one's 4, 6, 8. Who's making that damn noise?
I think Paige's mic is open, maybe.
Yes, Paige, I think.
Is that loomed up right there, Rumpus? Is that loomed up, his measurement?
No, that's not. No, that wouldn't be. He's looking down it. So he's actually looking down this, isn't he? He's laid it on the floor. So
right. So there we go. So we know that is 2 centimeters there.
But you just said that it was.
Hold on.
That's not 2 centimeters, though, is it? Though you can see from the one.
Oh my God!
Look at the one that says nearest to us, the 30. That's not got the black line 2 centimeters.
34, right? That's 20. That's 30. That's 40.
Yeah.
50,
no, I'm talking about the other objects. Randy.
Yes, he's not though, Rumpus.
So he shows that the 30.
There. What's that? On the 100-meter one, what's that say?
Right, that's okay. On the 100-meter one, okay. Okay.
Right. Okay. So we know that that's 2 centimeters, right? And we know that the other one's 2 centimeters.
That's my point. He's got the black lines. Hold on. He's got the black lines on the numbered things that are touching the ground, but the black lines on the object in the distance are not touching the ground. Jesus Christ.
Oh my goodness! Because the bottom part, let's call it a light brown color. Let's call it light brown.
So in other words, he's got a different color.
Shut up.
But he's got a different colouring scheme for the barred things and the bloody numbered things.
Fantastic. Well done, Rumpus. Well done.
Well done.
Hey!
I told you this 3 minutes ago.
You
are so clever,
You
Rumpus.
claimed that the black line at the bottom was in line with the same as the black lines on the other
I
numbered
told you that. No, I didn't. I said this one at the 70, the 70 and the 90. You see these two black lines, they match up. And I said the one in the distance, this long tower one here, it's got a coloured one, an unpainted one at the bottom, which is the same height as the 70 and the 90. If you scroll along and put a light on.
The non-black line, the non-black line.
This is what I said originally. Do you know something? You could have just. Hold on. You could have just listened to what I told you 5 minutes ago and just accepted it.
You
and
said
just
the black
hold
lines.
on.
How
And you
can
could
you
have
call that an
just let me finish.
black line?
Just let me finish.
It's not a line, is it?
Just
He's
let
still
me
doing
finish.
it. He's still doing it, Ranty.
Now, 5 minutes ago, you could have just listened to what I was presenting, and we would have got to the same point here. But we've just gone in a circle jerk all the way around for me to try and prove to you exactly what I said to you 5 minutes ago, and it's really frustrating and it's really annoying. But now that we know,
it's 2 centimeters above the back. Yeah, okay, great.
What? So now concentrate on this.
Yeah. So the black lines are in different positions on the numbered things and on the bar at the back. Great. Okay, we know that now.
Yes, we do.
Right, great.
So now if I pause that, now what's happening between the 70 and the 90?
Right, and you can see now a black line has appeared at the bottom of the barred thing, which shows what refraction is doing.
Because it's done what? It's what? Stunk? Rumpus?
Right, so what this suggests to me is the fact that it's done that,
Rumpus?
yes, and then that's in other words, it's done an inferior mirage trick. So that suggests to me that a lot of warm air has come in. Yes, that's effectively yes, and that's what inferior mirage has done. It's duplicated the black line just like inferior mirages do.
So hold on. So wait a minute. Finally, so what is the inferior mirage? Hold on.
So it's an inferior mirage in effect.
So what has the inferior mirage done to the light?
It bends it up.
No, it got rid of it.
That's what inferior mirages do.
The
they
light is gone.
No, inferior mirages. If you
know why?
Because you don't understand my diagram.
Do you know how many centimeters these are? Because we know how many there were here. Do you know how many? Can you guess how many there were? Let me add it up for you. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6. That's 8. That's number 8. So there's only one underneath that which you don't see. So that's been stretched.
Because it's been stretched down like an inferior mirage.
Like an inferior mirage.
Yes, exactly.
Like that isn't an inferior. Listen, hold on. The number 90. Look at the 90. That isn't an inferior mirage. That is sinking. Now that's not turned into an inferior mirage. That's actually sunk. And that's the benefit of having 3 things that we can all see at the same point. Now, hold on. No. Yes, it stretched it. It's not inferior mirage. Hold on. It didn't, because look here, it hasn't inferior mirage to the 90, which proves it was sinking.
But sinking doesn't generate. It has to be inferior miraging to make it bigger.
That's not inferior miraged.
It's made it bigger.
No, it's not. It's stretched it.
Therefore, it's right.
No, it's not inferior mirage.
It's an inferior. Well, I mean, it's certainly not just sinking.
The 90 hasn't. Wait a minute.
It's non-linear.
Hold on.
It's stretched it, and that means it's like it's
the 90.
The
90 wasn't inferior mirage, was it? Now the 90 has been sunk.
Well, we've seen
the 90's been sunk.
Well, we've got varying effects going on. You see, there was rippling.
Yeah.
If you look at the image, you've been caught out here. If you look at the image,
right, okay, so it's enough of him for tonight. Sorry, guys. Just him talking to me like that, it just pissed me right off. Wouldn't give me 5 minutes.
Auntie, I wanted to talk to him. You kicked him out now.
Sorry. I'm sorry, but when he's denying this and he's trying to say to my audience that that's an inferior mirage, that's not an inferior mirage. That 90 has been sunk, right? So
I agree with you. I agree with you, yeah.
When it says the horizon is below the horizon, what a contradiction.
When he calls your audience that supports you dumb, he should be gone.
That's the bit there. We're not stupid.
Well, at that point, when he's denying that one's sinking, but then trying to say that's an inferior mirage, no, that wasn't the case. That was being stretched down because it was being sunk. The same as this, and obviously that stopped because it reached the floor. That 90, right? Get this. That 90 was the same depth as the 70, right? It was almost identical in perspectively from the start of the video, but now it's half the height, and it's all compressed on the floor. On the floor. Now, it's not gone into the floor. It's just compressed into the floor. It's sunk, but it's all squished into that little narrow spot. Right? And this is what we've been trying to say for years. And these globers, I mean, I can go back and I'll show you the difference between the 70 and the 90s. This is for the audience, just to have a look. There you go.
The bottom line of it was, though, that LED disappeared.
And the LED disappeared, exactly. Yeah.
And that's the main point. Rumpus was trying to deflect from that and look at different points in the image.
Yep.
The light disappeared, or the lower part of the boat disappeared.
Well, here's the important. Well, yeah, so the lights disappeared, right? So he's saying that it was loomed up and then obviously it sunk or whatever. But the 90 and the 70, you can see that those two lights, you could draw a straight line across the top of them. They're almost perspectively identical, the 70 and the 90. And later on in the video, just a little bit further on, you can see how it's sunk.
Yeah,
and just the denial of this is beyond normal.
The diagram that Rumpus shows us of the lighthouse, it doesn't account for any gradient of density.
No.
There's an assumption there that the density
it's uniform.
Is uniform all the way through. And a lighthouse could be, 44 meters high? And yet this low band of refraction could be maybe only a meter high, and so you lose the lower part of the lighthouse because of that colder air closer to the water. So his diagram is dishonest.
Well, that depends on your distance away from the target, though, doesn't it? Because while you might only have a meter high bit of cold air, like you're suggesting, which is probably illogical, but you could have that maybe. But if your lighthouse was sufficiently far away, that could be less than a meter view in your field of view. So the entirety of the lighthouse could be within.
Shut up!
Calm down, Paige. Calm down.
Oh, sorry.
It's only gently.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
There's no need to talk to Bev like that. Why would you talk to Bev like that?
That's why I was like, he's not being that bad.
But please accept my apology. That was not directed at any of you.
We don't believe you. We don't believe you, Paige. We're all hurt.
I'm going to go and have a cry now. Sorry.
Right, let me shout out RM Skilton again. So he's Skillen. He says, you didn't answer my question. Why can a P1000 bring boats back, but not the sun? Well, if I go up with the camera and a drone, I can see it again. Okay, it's very simple. P1000 can, you're
Isn't the sun farther away than the boat?
Yeah, it is. But he's touching
is.
He's touching on a subject that I actually kind of agree with. I hate the fact that people like Mark Sargent say you can just bring out your P1000, zoom in, and you'll bring a boat back. Because that, to me, there are occasions when optically you can't see the boat. Doesn't mean that it's behind anything, and you bring it back. But to say that you can just bring a P1000 out or P900 back and just see a boat always forever. I mean, that just, to me, it's just wrong. So I've never been in agreement with that particular saying. But it's quite easy to say that the boat is obviously nearer and the sun is much further away, and that's the best way you can.
Can I go for that as well? We know what the boat is. We can measure a boat. We make boats. We can see them. We can do all of that. We've not got a clue what the big light in the sky is. So
why not?
What? Because we can't measure it.
You can.
No, you can't.
You can't go.
You can't measure light.
You can't measure the size of the light in the sky.
You don't need to measure the size of it to know what it is, Beth.
So what is it then, gently?
What was it made out of?
It's plasma. It's a thermonuclear
How did you
reaction.
verify that? How did you verify that?
It's easy enough to verify.
You can't. You can't verify it. You'd have to go to
No,
the
no,
sun
no.
and test it.
It can be verified.
No, can't.
Gently, you said it's easily enough. Because go on, if it's easy, go ahead.
Okay, so we know what nuclear reactions are. We've got all the physics. We've got all the mathematics. We've got all the observations, right? Is anyone going to deny that?
I haven't got any of
What are you
that.
talking about?
What's that got to do with the sun? A nuclear reaction. What's it got to do with the sun?
Because we know what irradiates from a nuclear reaction, and we can point all of our equipment at the sun and observe the same things.
Have you personally done that?
You can't wiggle it.
I personally know that you have a brain in your head. No, but it's inferred.
Okay. So you're not personally done it. So you're accepting somebody else's explanation of it.
Yes, and that's perfectly reasonable
Which
logic.
is literally not verifying it.
That's a flaw. There's a flaw in your position there. If you accept somebody else's opinion, it's a flaw. The flawed reasoning.
You've missed the spot where the verification comes in. You've skipped over the verification and said, I'll just believe this person who says this is true. You've completely went past the verification thing that we're talking about. So I'll go back to the point that I made before. You cannot verify it.
Why can it not? Okay, so there's a difference between me not being able to verify it and it not being verified.
You cannot verify it. I can't verify it. No one in this chat here literally has ever verified what the sun is made of.
Righto, but does that mean it's not a big plasma ball? Huh?
That means that there's no good reason for anyone here to accept that it is a big plasma ball, because literally none of us have verified that. So we'd be working off of somebody else's belief.
And how would one go about verifying whether it is a ball of plasma or a thermonuclear
Yeah, that's a good
reaction?
question. How do we get up there to the sun that we don't know what it is?
Yeah,
How do we
exactly.
get
How
up there
do we
to
need to
check
go
out
to
what
it?
it is for
So we need to go
sure?
there.
Yeah, you would need to go
Congratulations,
to it. Yep.
you've gotten to what
Well
real
done,
science
gently.
would be. How do
you
we
not
solve
see
a
the
problem
flaw
in
in your
reality?
own logic? Paige,
No, there's a
Paige,
flaw
I
in your
don't know you
logic.
exist. Paige, I don't know you exist. It's inferred
Yes, you do. You're
that
talking
you exist.
to me right now.
Exactly. It's inferred that you exist. I can't see you. I can't touch
No
you.
one's
I can't
questioning
taste,
whether or not the
can't
sun
smell you, can't-
exists, buddy.
No sensory
You're
perception
changing the
of
argument.
mine. No.
But
What
and
the
let me
fuck
put
you
it
on?
to you this way, gently. You don't know what.
You don't know that Paige is a female. You don't know that.
I was just going to say that, but I thought no,
You
I don't
don't
want to
know
bring up
that
whether I'm a
female.
tranny or
You
not.
can infer, you can guess, you can
Exactly.
believe her,
Yeah,
you can
you
trust
can
her,
guess
you can do
by the
everything
way
you
I
want
look and the way I
and
talk
think that
and
she's a female, but you can't verify it and you don't know. So if you're going to try and tell someone else
Unless
what
you come
reality is
here.
and make them believe it, you don't have the right to say that you know for sure and have verified it, because you haven't. You don't know that she's a female.
Right. What do I have to do?
Right.
I mean, do I have...
not empirically.
So, Paige, in
science
order
is
for me
supposed
to
to be
know that
empirical.
you are... Paige, listen to the logic.
Yep.
Listen to
Bro,
the
this
logic.
guy doesn't know how to
You
know
told
if
me
somebody.
that in order...
He doesn't know
Paige,
how to tell if someone's a female. Bro, that's
Right,
a
so
problem.
in order for me to know that you are a female, Paige, I have to physically inspect you naked. I have to see your sexual
Or
organs.
take my blood.
Why?
Because that's what reality is.
That would be
What can I do with your blood,
empirical
Paige?
science. Like if
can
you
I do
had
with your
Brenda
blood?
and
I
I
can't touch
standing
your
in
blood.
front of you, how would you know the difference unless you actually physically inspected our genitals? Then you'd say, oh yeah, we are the same. But then you would take our blood and you would go, oh, holy shit, actually, they're not the
Yes,
same
Paige,
at all.
Paige, what you've just said
Yeah.
is use a piece of equipment designed for a purpose in order to find out.
Okay, so
That's exactly what I'm suggesting. We're on the same wavelength.
Okay, back to the sun
I
then.
understand what they're trying to do, but what
But
I'm
you
saying is
can
once
get to
they
her
make
blood.
those
You can't get to the
assumptions,
sun to test it.
they've got no way to actually check with whether their assumptions are correct or not.
So gently,
Do you see what I'm saying?
gently, what is the sun? You got first-hand personal knowledge of what the sun is, gently.
No, of course I don't.
Oh,
Have you?
No, I haven't. No, so I can't make a conclusion.
Right. So, are you saying that it's not a large ball of plasma, a thermonuclear reaction 93 million miles away?
In a
Did you hear
vacuum,
what I
no.
said? Did you hear what I said?
So you know what it's not. So you don't know what it is, but you do know what it isn't. Is that your argument?
You can
No,
find out
no,
what
no.
something
Listen,
can't
here's the
possibly
point.
be.
The point is, there's just as much verification that it's what you're saying it is, as there is that there's verification that it's a giant white, bright unicorn in the sky. There's just as much verification, which is zero. So it can be whatever you want to imagine it to be. It can be that. If you want to go around your living your life thinking that it is that thing, that's fine. But what you don't get to do is start from that point and then say you're doing science, because you're not.
And teach
Yeah,
it
that's
to all
circular
our
logic.
kids as fact.
When you start with what you're trying to prove, that's called circular logic. So you're trying to prove that the sun is a ball of plasma. So you can't start with the sun is a ball of plasma to prove itself. That's circular logic.
So I don't. That wasn't
Okay, so
that wasn't what
without
I
assuming
suggested.
it's a plasma ball? Okay, so without assuming it's a plasma ball, right? How do you go about confirming that it's a plasma ball?
Right. So you do all the experimentation observations you can. You collect the data. You then transfer
You're just
that
saying,
data
what do you
to
do?
every other
Don't
data
tell me.
point.
What would you actually do?
You could measure the radio waves. You could measure the microwaves.
Okay, no,
you could measure.
Okay, again, would you stick your hand up in the sky to measure the radio waves? Tell me what you would actually do. Like, you're just saying words, but you're not giving me what you're doing.
What you're asking for is everything from first principles, first hand. No one man can do that. That's a ridiculous statement.
But exactly, what can you do? Like, we look at the sun, okay? What can you or me or Fermat or anyone else do outside of that? This is my point. This is the point. Nothing.
No, you
just
can
make
make
guesses,
equipment.
which is
You
what
can
you've
make
done.
a piece of equipment that can register
gently, that
the full
equipment's
range
like
of electromagnetic
spectroscopy.
spectrum. You are.
But then you've got to assume the medium between you and the thing.
Right,
You
you have
don't
to
assume
assume
anything,
no
Reg, you can
interference,
test it.
nothing else is
Circular
affecting
logic.
that. There's so many assumptions you have to go along with that you're assuming do not mess with that device that you've designed for that purpose in any way, shape, or form,
Exactly,
and then
yeah.
take those results as absolute. That's what you have to do.
No, you're
And the
incorrect.
fact
You're
that we
telling me
must-
they're assumptions. They are not assumptions. That's the point.
You're
They
not.
are,
You
you can't
can't
assume
test.
a
Gently.
microwave. It either is or is not. It proves itself. It's like Bev's logic statement. It's supposed to prove itself. If you get a microwave signal, you have a microwave. There is
You're trying to.
Listen,
you're trying to make the reason of getting the signal prove itself. So you get your sensor gives you a reaction. Okay, you didn't see why, so you can't then assume that it's because of a microwave, because that's circular
but you
logic.
made a piece. No, you made a
Okay,
piece
great.
of
You made a
equipment.
piece of equipment that gives unique output. Does that tell you why
What if
it's
there's
doing
something
that?
else
No.
out there in the universe
Yes,
that makes the
because
exact
the piece
same
of
thing as a microwave? What if there's that? Have you
What?
disproven that? Have you shown that there's
What
literally
if the
nothing else in the
firmament
universe
has
that can make
some
that device do the
effect?
exact same thing? Have you done
Yes.
that?
That's
No, you
literally the
haven't. You
point of
can't
it.
do it. Do you want to know why? Because literally human beings cannot account for everything they don't know about. You can't do that.
Right, but you can account for the physics that you do know about. And you can account
For the ones that you can
making a
verify
piece of
yourself
equipment.
in front of your face. Yes, those ones you can account for. And that's it.
According to you,
But the
that's
ones
your
that
logic.
we do account
That's
for,
not
gently,
mine.
you deny.
No,
The
according
law of
to
entropy.
logic.
Like,
Not my logic,
hang on.
not anyone
law,
else's logic,
entropy.
just logic. Plain and simple.
What about entropy, Paige? What about entropy?
well, you know that you cannot create air pressure without some kind of containment. You can't even create a vacuum without some kind of containment, let alone have them next to each other.
Right, okay. So in physics, you can. But in the real life, in the real world, I can create air pressure without a container. All I need to do is vector the air molecules. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So why hasn't anybody shown us in 5 years?
Well, funnily enough, that's my next video, but that's a secondary topic. But you can.
Okay, well, this is circular logic.
Very much
This is
looking
your
forward
first.
to that.
Hold on, more circular logic. You're assuming
What is
air particles. You don't know what circular logic. Again, I'll repeat it. Is when you start with what you're trying.
I know
to
what it is.
Okay, so here. So when did you prove that air was bouncing particles, bouncing little balls, to prove that that's what air pressure is? Or is that an assumption you're starting with?
Again, I'm not going to do every single experiment to prove all of physics from first principles.
So you're not going to verify.
Okay, so you haven't done it. So you haven't. Okay, so this you're taking everything you're going to give us is faith. Yeah, this is your science. This is your faith. You're telling us your religion because you've done nothing. You just believe some stuff. So you're giving us your faith. Congratulations, you're in a religion.
Okay, well, that's cool. But what you haven't done is disproved it in any way. You've just given me your opinion, and that's great. Your opinion is all good for you. But my opinion is based on the facts and logic from hundreds of years of experimental research.
Your 100 years is your belief. That's your belief. You haven't done any of this.
If you have a claim about the sun, you have to prove the claim. I don't have to disprove it. Okay? If you want to go along believing that about the sun, you can do that. Okay? And if I ever
then don't disagree with me.
On what it is, then I am required. I'm
allowed to
disagree about it. All I'm saying is what you say it is not acceptable. All I'm doing is denying your claim. If you have a claim, you got to prove it. I don't have to prove that unicorns don't exist, just like I don't have to prove that the sun isn't a ball of gas. If you want to make a claim about the sun, you need to back it up. And that means you need to verify it.
You're equally making the claim about the sun by saying it isn't.
I am absolutely not making the claim about the sun.
No,
I'm not.
Saying you're a liar is not making a claim. So if you come in and say, the sun is a big giant ball of gas, and we go, you're a liar, that's not making a claim. Now, that's just saying that you're a liar.
Is not you taking the opposite position. That's not how it works.
Yeah, that's the false
Because then I would just say the sun isn't a ball of fire, and you would say, no, it isn't. I go, well, prove it.
No,
prove it's
exactly.
not.
So
prove it's not a ball. Prove it's not a ball of fire.
Is there any way I can
other than
finish a sentence?
I'm saying prove it's not a ball of fire.
If it is, okay, it's not fire. If it is not a ball of plasma, then I'm going to ask you what it is. What research have you done?
Don't know what it is.
Don't
need to know.
And that's the point.
Don't know.
Yeah, and that's the point. You don't know.
So I don't know what it is.
You don't know what it is.
We're
not going to make any assumptions about what it is to base our science on.
Not an
that would be
assumption.
stupid.
You can't have. If you make a measurement is not an assumption. How can it be?
We're saying you're not making a measurement.
What did you measure?
What you're calling a measurement absolutely cannot be a measurement because you can't go measure it. You can only assume what it is and then say
to measure the energy coming from it. There's no need to go to a place that's got energy irradiating from it to measure the energy irradiating from it. I can measure that from here.
Gently,
yes, there is, because you don't know what that energy is. You're assuming what it is.
Our position is that we haven't drawn any conclusions as to what the sun is, but you have.
Exactly.
You seem to be quite confident that it's a.
So okay, so let's put that in logic terms. You've got absolutely no idea what it is, and I am quoting hang on, and I am quoting hundreds of years of scientific study, research,
Appeal
and
to
physics.
authority fallacy.
So you have absolutely nothing in your
gently,
corner.
There's no experiment, so you can't call it scientific.
I mean, there's no experiment.
They've
That's your
studied it,
opinion.
they've observed it, all that kind of stuff, but you can't call it scientific, though. It's not.
Why not?
Gently. Do you know what argumentum ad populum?
Needs experiment.
Argumentum ad populum. Argumentum ad populum.
Yes. Okay.
It's an argument because it's a popular opinion, and that's exactly what you've just done there. Because
it's not a popular opinion. No, I've got to correct you. It's not popular opinion. This is
okay, expand on that then.
Scientific experiment is a gathering of data of the actual thing that you are looking at. It's not popular opinion. It's actual data.
Okay, so your argument
That's not opinion.
Your argument back to me is that the scientific experimentation. Where is the experiments? Can you show me that?
Would you want me to show you all right now? So what I've got to do to acquiesce to that request is go away, Google all the experiments that have been done to establish what the sun is. Come back here, present me with all that. You've got to read all through
experiments gently.
We can save you the time. We're telling you that you don't need to waste your time doing all that. We already understand that there aren't any. You'll go to Google and you'll find a whole bunch of stuff that says we have this tool that does this thing, and guess what? our results lined up with the tool that we designed to get this result. Yay, we're right. That's what they'll say. They won't show you any scientific experiments that actually show that anyone has measured anything relating to the actual sun.
Are you referring to spectroscopy, maybe, Gentleys? Is that what you're referring to? Let me help you out here a bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would... Spectroscopy, okay. Right, what about it?
No, I'm asking you, is that one of the methods that you think that they've proven what you think the sun is? I'm just asking you.
That would work very well, yes.
Okay. Now, I will agree with you that they have detected certain kind of lights through a prism coming out of the sun, and they say this, this, and that. But to deduce from that, those light rays, right? First of all, you have two issues. One, did anything hit those light rays between the 93 million miles assumed? Second, how can you assume by those light rays what's at the center, what's made of the sun? Where, I don't know if you heard of my Russian Kola bore, like when I talk about it, like we only dug 8 miles down on here on Earth, and we got it wrong every mile down.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying here, gently?
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
it's a
so
big assumption here.
there's no real assumptions. So with your, in respect to the hole that you're talking about, that goes 8 miles into the Earth, and you got 6,000 mile radius. So you're only just really scratching the surface, and you're only like a 12-inch or maybe a 24-inch hole, something like that. So realistically, you're taking, it's a needle in a haystack, and you're asking, do you know exactly the specifics of this need? Hang on, Paige.
Yeah, but that's the whole point,
You're asking,
Gently. They show us a diagram.
You've made our
yeah,
point for
but
us.
the physics, okay, yeah, but it's not laminar flow, the sun, it's turbulent, so you wouldn't know the absolute specifics of this little pinprick that you're putting into it of your knowledge, you see, but you don't
I
need
agree
to,
with
because
you, Gently, but Gently, that's my whole point, bro. If we don't know what's under our feet 8 miles, how can we deduce what's 93 million miles away, bro? This is what I'm trying to tell you.
Dude, but that's likening to say you don't know what's under your fingernail, therefore you don't know you've got an arm, right? And I mean, I think...
No, it's not.
You can touch
because
your
you
fingernail
can
in your
actually
arm.
touch your arm and know that it's there. You can go to your arm. You
God.
can use your senses
It was an
to detect
example.
your arm.
It was an example.
Well, gently think about what I said before about
And
if you
what
had
I'm
Brenda
saying
and
is
I
your
standing
example
in
is
front of
bad
you and you use
because
your
no one's questioning the existence
spectroscopy,
of the sun.
use your spectroscopy to look at us, and you go, oh, yep, the same, I'm getting the same little squiggles in my machine from both of them, no problem. But if you don't actually come over to us and, physically do something to actually check, then you don't know.
You do, because what else could be making those little squiggles, as you call them?
Exactly. What else could it be? Think of the
Well,
unlimited
Brenda looks like a
possibilities in our
woman.
universe.
She had surgery
What else
to
could
look
it
like
be?
a woman.
Right, as
But
to
what
what
else
else
could
could
she
it
be?
You rule everything else out. That's the point.
No, you can't. You can't rule everything else out. That's not a thing
we
that
don't
human
know
beings
what we
can
don't
do.
know.
It's impossible.
It's
The
not.
only way you
Gently.
can rule things out is by starting with the standard of it isn't unless proven it is. That's the only way you get to rule things out. And if that's what the standard you're going by, the real standard of science, then you have to leave the sun is plasma at the door because it
No, you
isn't
don't.
until proven is.
It's proven is. That's the point.
It isn't proven. You holding up a device and saying, look at the squiggles, they do what I think they should, is not proof.
Yes, it is.
No,
it's
it
not
isn't.
good enough for you. It's good
No,
enough
that's
for
not
the
proof.
rest of the
It's literally,
world.
it does not qualify as proof.
Then
Period.
why are
but
you
it
here,
does for
gently, if
everyone
you're
else.
happy,
It's
if
not,
you
it's not
think
just
you
me.
have
It
proof,
does not qualify as proof.
Why are you arguing with us then?
Why am I arguing? I was asked the question.
Like why
I
do you
gave
wanna-
an answer.
why do you wanna-
Someone refuted the answer, even though the answer is evidentially backed up.
But we're saying it's not. You're saying it is. So why aren't you happy with what evidence you've got? Why do you feel the need to come and tell us that we are wrong and you're right and all your proof's right if you're so secure that your proof is right?
That's not the way it went down, no, Paige. I was just here chatting. right? And then someone asked me a question. I gave them an answer, and I said no,
Yeah, I know,
because
Del.
you've
I'm
got
just
no
saying,
proof.
like, when you decide to join a Flat Earth server, when you first found out about Flat Earth, like, why didn't you just go, oh, you know, well, we've got all the evidence. I know 100% I live on a ball, and just be happy with that? Why do you feel the need to come and tell us we're wrong?
I could do, Paige, but think about this then. If everybody did that, you'd just have an echo chamber.
Yeah, the world would suck, wouldn't it?
Gently's one of the good ones. Right, Gently,
Yes,
he's a good guy. You can have a good conversation with Gently.
I'm just trying to get him to look at his motivation a little bit.
Yes, Gently's a gentleman. We'll give him that.
Yeah, if he
wrong about
thinks
the
his
sun,
proof
though.
is so perfect, then
Well, you know, all the evidence.
Can I give you another example? You know, infrared vision.
Yes.
When they use it in the field, the body heat coming off the soldiers there. What you know that vision, right?
Yes, yeah, I'm aware.
Now you can see a man, right? And you can see that there's different shades of radiation coming out of him, right?
Right, yeah.
That's like kind of an example of what they do with the sun. They look at the light coming off of it, and they see this light, that light, right? Now, do you think that using that technology we can see what is inside, how the heart works, how the DNA functions? You think we can have that sort of information from that, just a light source?
Yes. Not just the infrared light you would, but from a mass spectrum, yes.
But we're not talking about X-rays now and stuff like that. We're talking about just the light that they see. They just see different kind of light.
Yeah, but
they can tell you it's helium or it's this. They can't tell you what are the innards, what are the guts of the sun. Do you understand my analogy here?
I do, but you see that the sun is emitting X-rays, so you get the full electromagnetic spectrum from the sun. So you got gamma rays through to radio waves, and you can study each and every component of that, and you have the physics around electromagnetism and stuff like that. So we can look at how these things develop, where it came from, what it's doing, where it can go.
No. All you're detecting is light coming from the surface. That's all you know.
What if it's emitting something we can't even test yet?
Everything outside of the Earth works exactly the same way as everything inside the Earth, and that there's literally nothing different about it?
Yeah, physics is universal is one of the main postulates of physics.
Universal. Yeah. So we've sent people to every part of the universe, and they all know every corner of the universe. There's nothing different about any of those particular rules. There can't be. Is that what you're claiming? That we somehow have access to that knowledge?
The knowledge that physics is universal, yes.
How? How did we verify that it was universal? Please explain this.
Because mathematics is universal.
Okay. How did you verify that mathematics is universal? How did you verify that either of those things was universal outside of Earth? Name all the places that you went outside of Earth and verified yourself that those things are universal.
You think you can go in the jungle of Brazil and do algebra with one of the natives?
Okay, I'll get back to that in a second, Montel.
You haven't even been to the bottom of the ocean and verified that it works correctly there, buddy. No, you haven't.
Fuck me, dude, let me speak. You ask me a question and then you babble on with about a million other points, and it's like I can't address them all.
No, it's the same point.
State a point. Right, so how do we know maths is universal? Okay, so you look at anything around you now. You have 2 TVs in your room, you have 1 TV in your room, yeah? You can go to the other corner of the universe, land on a planet, and take the TVs with you. You will have 2 TVs. When you get there, you're not going to have 4 TVs or no TVs. What do you mean? Prove it.
I'm telling you,
prove
that you can go to the other end of the universe, and those TVs won't multiply or subtract on your way there.
How do we know there's not a wormhole that just makes them
Show me that those planets will play the exact same rules that ours does. Show me.
Give me a reason why they would. If you can't tell me why they would randomly multiply, then they won't.
That's the point. It isn't so unless it's proven so, and you can't prove that it's so. You have to assume it, and that's fine. Listen, if you want to say, yes, we have to assume certain things about the universe, then that's fine. Just say that, but don't claim that it's scientifically proven and unquestionable, because it's not. You have to make those assumptions about the universe.
That's our
you
point,
have to assume that the TV won't multiply.
Yeah.
No, it's not an assumption. What you would have to do is have a suspension of the natural laws of physics at any given point, which we've never experienced. So why can it'll happen over there, but it can't happen here? Be a logical statement.
There you go.
Can't be.
You've arrived at what I said earlier. If you're going to have the standard, it needs to be that something isn't unless proven is. We have had no experience of TVs multiplying on their own, so that's not true, right?
Exactly why maths
And
is
we
universal. Thank
none
you.
of us have ever experienced a giant ball of plasma in a vacuum doing anything ever in our entire lives, so it isn't until proven is. Thank you.
Except for when you look up on a sunny day, then you experience it.
You cannot prove it. You can look at a
experimentation proves it.
You're doing circular logic.
Experimentation is circular logic.
So
you design an experiment.
No, when did you put the sun? When did you put a sun? When did you experiment and put a sunlight plasma ball in a vacuum chamber to prove that that is possible? When did you experiment with that?
What do you know about? People are making stars on Earth. The Koreans are doing it. The Chinese are doing it.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're on
jar
about.
and stuff.
So
okay, when did you? I'm just asking you.
When did I? I haven't done everything in the world.
Well, then
I'm not
seems
going
like
to do
you're
it from first principles. I'm not going to do. I'm not going to work out.
So you admit you're in a religion.
I'm not going to write the
So you're
book
in a
of
religion.
Euclid. What? What? How is that a religion?
So you admit. So okay, hang on.
You haven't
Would
done
you
it
admit
yourself.
that? Right, like I haven't verified God, but if I believe the sun is God, then the sun is God, and that's my belief. But that's a religion. Now, if you believe the sun is a giant ball of plasma, exactly. Where's your evidence? Where's your evidence? Where's your evidence that the sun is a giant ball of plasma in a vacuum chamber? Where's your experimental evidence of that?
Right. Again, you just design a piece of equipment that can perform a singular task. You record
Okay. Now
data.
you've left. Hang on. You've left the standard of having to prove what you wanted to prove to this circular logic of I will make a device that proves what I already believe. Okay, yeah, that's religion, dude.
No. You're not making a device to prove.
Yes.
No, you're just making a device.
Well, how are you going to know? Okay, hang on. Yeah, but that's not going to prove what the sun does. You just make a device that gives you a reaction. You can't prove what that reaction is unless you circular logic to believe that the sun is the thing you're trying to prove first.
No.
Yes. Okay, so we don't know. Hang on. Listen. We don't know what the sun is. We make a device. It gives us a reaction. We still don't know what the sun is. We just know it makes this device do something.
Yes. So you record some data.
Okay, so we don't know what the sun is. Great. So you agree we don't know what the sun is. We just know. Hang on.
Stop talking, man. Let me finish my fucking answer.
Well, you just said it.
Right.
I'm just asking you questions.
You've got your one reaction. That's recorded data. Then you do that process a million times, a million different ways. Now you've got a million sources of data. Now you can correlate.
Okay, all right. Well, here, let me put it this way.
We still don't know what the sun is, though.
Hold on. What is the name of that device that you're talking about that does this, that takes this reading?
Well, a spectrometer. Let's go with that.
Okay, all right.
Montreal
and what happens on the spectrometer when it detects these waves that you're talking about?
How do you mean?
Confirms a bias.
What does it do? What is there like a beeping noise, or is there a needle that moves,
like an
or
ECG
like a Geiger
map
counter?
or
Like what
Yeah.
happens on the device to let you know that it's detecting something?
Well, you will get an audible readout. So it could be sound, but it's usually vision.
And does that change depending on how strong or weak or what the magnitude is?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's say you did that and you're testing to see what it's detecting off of the sun, and it gives you a little reading. And I say, actually, that's the exact same reading that I expect for a unicorn. Now, do you believe me that unicorns exist because your device picked up the reading I expected?
Did you have any data from unicorns that I could have a look at?
Like,
no.
what kind of data?
Oh, right then.
What kind of data from unicorns?
You've
What
got
kind of
no
data?
data from the unicorn.
I'm asking, what kind of data do you want? What do I need to provide you with? What data?
Anything. Literally any data. Just actual physical data.
Okay, they look kind of like horses. There's some data. They look kind of like horses.
Okay,
but
I'll give you
There's a little bit of data.
book that
Is
I
that
wrote
enough
on
data?
their diet.
Is that enough data?
That's not data.
How is that not data?
Because it's not quantified.
Okay, so what are you asking me for? What kind of data?
I want any kind of physical makeup. I want some kind of
all right. So
genetics.
I'll explain to you what you're actually asking me for. You're asking me to show you with one or more of your 5 senses a unicorn. You want me to let you either hear it or smell it or taste it or touch it or see it so that you can verify that that unicorn exists. Okay? That's what you're asking me for.
Exactly.
Hang on. If I don't use any of my senses, I would be numb to the fact anything existed.
That's
so
exactly right.
obviously what you just said.
That's
so you're
right.
making no point.
No, I'm getting there. Okay. So let's say I tell you that I can smell the unicorn. Okay. I have data. I know what the unicorn smells like. I know exactly the reading I'm looking like from the device. Do you believe me yet that that unicorn is real?
I believe that you've got a unicorn-like smell. You haven't
Okay.
verified
And
the unicorn, you've verified the smell.
Plasma-like reading on your device, and it literally proves nothing about what the sun is made of. Thank you.
Except for the plasma-like bit. See, what you've got with your unicorn smell, stop talking over me. What you've got with your unicorn smell is proof of a smell, not proof of the unicorn. What I've got with my plasma-like thing is a plasma-like reading.
Thank
See,
you.
I'm one step closer to the evidence than you are.
No, you're not.
You
You're
have
making
no
the exact
data.
point that I'm trying to make. You're getting a plasma-like reading and assuming that means it is the plasma, instead of thinking to yourself, we don't actually know what the sun is because we haven't been there. So there could be 17 billion different things between the sun and us that's interacting with this signal, making it look like a plasma signal. You made my point.
And then you just test for those two, right? And you take
You're not-
data
when
on
you
those
say
two.
test for all the things that you don't know are there between you and the sun, the things you can't possibly anticipate, you test for all of those? Really?
Yes. That's cool. You test for everything. Why
you
not?
can't test for things you don't know exist.
Okay,
We
so I don't know.
Us in the sun.
That's fucking stupid. If I've got a tin, yeah, and it ain't got a label on it, well, I can test it by just fucking opening up and tasting it. I can't just go, oh, well, there's a tin, so therefore everything's
go
fucked.
right to the tin
I
and
can
analyze
probe
the tin. Can you open up the sun yourself and look inside?
No, but again,
That's right,
with this tin, you can shake it and say, well, is it liquid? Is it solid? There's all sorts of things that you can do without opening it up.
That's right.
You don't need.
And guess what? You will not be able to verify what's inside it until you check.
No,
yourself.
wrong.
Someone can stand on the other side of the earth with that can and shake it for you and tell you what it smells like and tell you what it sounds like. And guess what? You will have no idea what's actually in that tin until you go over there and open the tin.
So let's get back to what it sounds like. So let's say I have a piece of audio equipment and I'll record the sound. So I have the data. So I have the wavelength of the sound, the frequency, everything. And then I shake every other tin on Earth. It'll only match up to, 2 or 3 tins that it could be. So I've whittled this. It could be anything down into 2 or 3 things that it could physically be. And I can keep doing this for
as long as there's
put
nothing
radio
else in the
waves
universe
into
that
it.
we
I
don't
could put
have
microwaves into it. I could do many different things. And the more testing I do, the closer and closer I get to the truth. Eventually, I'll have completed all the tests and have
and
the
are
truth.
you saying that you'll arrive at a conclusion of what is absolutely in the tin?
Gently.
Okay, all right. So the tin, it turns out, the tin that you're using, it turns out it was buried on Mars. So what's inside? Tell me right now, what's in there?
I don't know. Where's the data?
Exactly. You don't know. Even if you did all of your tests, you still wouldn't know. Do you want to know
Are you
why?
ignoring
Because you've
everything
never
I've
been to
just
Mars.
said?
You don't know what's in tins on Mars.
You just ignored everything I just said. You need data.
No, I'm not
to
ignoring
know.
it. I'm telling
if I
you,
haven't
you
got,
don't have experience with Mars tins. You have experience with Earth tins. So no matter what tests you do from Earth, you won't have any better idea what's in that tin from Mars until you check what's in it.
no, I just do the same test that I did on Earth, and I do it on Mars.
And you'll have no idea whether or not they work the same or not on a tin from Mars because you don't have experience with a tin from Mars. You'll assume that they work. You can guess that they work. You can go along living your whole life thinking they did work, but you'll never know until you check what's inside the tin.
Okay, great stuff. Now, can I have a word in edgeways? Right, I don't know what's in this tin on Mars, and I do know what are in all the tins on Earth. So guess what? I'll go to Mars, and I'll get all the fucking tins and check them all. Like, it's
Right.
like...
So go to the sun and get all
what you
the data
need is the...
and check it.
No. Yes.
So you're
So
saying
I
you
would
do need to go to
collect
Mars to
all
check
the
it, but you
data.
go to the sun to check it?
How are you
Why?
not following this? How are you not following
I'm
me?
following it
Collect
fine. You're
all
double
the
speaking now.
data.
You actually already admitted that I'm right, but you don't even necessarily recognize it. You saw that you need to go to Mars to get the data, but you're not admitting you need to go to the sun to get the same kind of data.
Yep.
My fucking God. Because
Right.
we're talking about different things, different contexts.
No, we aren't.
Right. You're
Anybody
talking
else
about...
in this room that's been following our conversation, I'm sure, has the clear idea of what I've just shown you, and that you actually.
Well, of course, everyone's going to support you. You're supporting their logic.
Well, I think it's down to the audience really, who's good. You know, they'll have listened to that back and forth that you guys have just had, and they'll make their own mind up. I think it was quite clear, for me at least, it was quite clear which way the argument. I mean, come on, gently, you must know that he has a point. You must know that.
He has absolutely no point whatsoever. No, I don't.
Okay, right. Well, listen, we've had a super chat from Cleary. He says an object moving with constant velocity must have a constant speed in a linear direction, and then follows it up with Newton killed the globe with the law of motion. There we go. Thank you for the $5 super chat there.
Ranty, I'm off to bed, but I just want to say something to Gently. 10 out of 10 for joining a hostile environment. We've all done it. I've gone into Gen Panda's server, and it's pretty hair-raising and very difficult to talk to everybody. I still think you're wrong, but well done for being here. And that's my good night. That's my good night. Gently, are you in the UK?
I'm in the UK, yeah, Birmingham.
Right, it's time for bed. Come on, it's 1:20.
Yeah,
Cheers, Mark.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Yeah, I mean,
Later, Mark.
yeah. I mean, Gently, along with any Globers, welcome here. You know, I mean,
yeah.
I don't think Gently was insulted in any way. I think we just had a passionate discussion. I mean, nobody jumped all over him, did he? So
It's
Gently,
hard. It's hard.
Say that again, Rant. No one jumps all over me. I barely got a word out.
you just...
Oh, you did a great job.
Hey.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give Gently a couple of minutes, if he wants to say whatever he wants.
Yeah,
how's that?
Listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So whenever you're going to do anything to establish what something is, if you can't physically go and check, you can collect data. And the more data you get, the closer you get to knowing what the thing is that you're observing. And you can eventually get to a point where you've ruled out all the things that are not true. You have a lot of truths, and you can correlate those to other truths that you have from other experience on other things. And eventually you'll have a body of knowledge, and you'll have a degree of certainty, a very high degree of certainty. There are no absolutes in life. Okay, that's fine. But if I've got 1,000 tests of what light is, what the electromagnetic spectrum is, what radiation is, what nuclear and thermal energy and stuff like that are, and they all correlate to the sun, I can be pretty confident that what I see is a thermonuclear reaction. Okay, that's it. Done.
What happens if the foundation that you started with to build your ideas from is faulty?
I would have to rethink the entirety of physics at that point.
It's time for bed, Gently.
And that's what's happening. That's what Flat Earth is doing. We're saying, like, literally everything from how they see viruses, germ theory, stuff like that, to, you know, the shape of the Earth. We are saying that, quote unquote, science has put these foundations that are faulty, and they've built a model on top of those foundations. And yes, all their calculation, all their math works out because they make it work out, but the foundation's wrong. So your building's crooked.
Is it possible, though, Paige, that instead of Cleary and whatever he just said about Newton debunked the globe, is it possible that he actually doesn't understand the laws of motion properly enough to say, to come to the conclusion that he did? Is it possible that the physics is actually correct, but he just gets the wrong end of the stick?
There's some things that we can be absolutely sure of, and those things are things like water, things like natural laws. They don't go through the scientific method because they are just true always. Things like, you know, nature abhors a vacuum. You know, we know these things at a fundamental level, and to believe the ball, you need to dismiss or make excuses for those things that aren't working. And that's where Flat Earthers are just saying, you know, come on, guys, we just want you to have a bit of a second look at these things.
But I've yet to see these things that aren't working. I mean, lots of people talk about the second law of thermodynamics and stuff like that. And really, like, Earth's atmosphere is the poster boy for the second law of thermodynamics. If you wanted to study the laws of thermodynamics, Earth's atmosphere is an awesome place to look. So someone is getting something wrong somewhere. And it's not the globe side, because, well, we're using those laws of thermodynamics.
Is it possible that it might be your side that's wrong? Is it possible?
Look, I absolutely concede that physics isn't an absolute 100% certainty. It isn't a blanket statement of what is absolute.
Okay. Well, we're just saying that, you know, we just want you guys to give us a little bit of room, allow us to have these discussions with you and, you know, talk about these things. But we feel like all your side ever wants to do is shut us down and tell us that we're not allowed to ask these questions, we're not allowed to talk about these things.
No, well, some people are like that. You know, I'm not gonna say that doesn't happen. It does happen.
You are actually a minority on your side, not a majority.
Well, you know, some things can rub people up the wrong way.
Yeah, but isn't it funny that they would get upset? Like, what? You know, I don't understand what difference it makes. You know, the only thing I can think of is that if they concede that the Earth's flat and enclosed, then holy shit, that means there's a creator, and oh dear, that means I'm responsible for everything I've done, and oh dear. You know, that's the only thing I've been able to come up with why your side gets so emotional about this.
Right, well, let's do some final thoughts, guys. Let's see if we can wrap up tonight's session. Bansaw, are you there, my friend? No? Okay, Bev? Oh, yeah,
Hey,
there you go, Bansaw.
Yeah, good show, buddy. Yeah, good show, buddy. All right, catch you next time, mate.
All right, no worries. Bev, final thoughts there?
Yeah, good show again. Me and Rumpus, we've got to have it out. Parallel lines. He managed to run away before we got there. Out.
Sorry, I dropped there for a minute.
You can get him next time there,
Bev. I will, next time we see him.
Right, gently. Final thoughts, my friend.
It's a globe. Bev's tautology is absolutely meaningless. And have a good night, everyone.
Aaron Armstrong, final thoughts. Okay, right. I rock well. Final thoughts. Jimbo. Everybody gone? Right, okay. Mailman.
Yep.
Yeah, could you give us some final thoughts there? Okay, right. Patient Zero, final thoughts.
Hey, Ranty, great show. Good job, panel. And, all that. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. Right, Paige just left. Oh, Paige is back. There we go. Final thoughts there, Paige. These technical issues, it's not going great. Yes, Aaron, go ahead.
Sorry, could I just have those final thoughts? I just wasn't listening, so I haven't listened to the show at all. Just wanted to, while I have the opportunity where I won't be interrupted, earlier when we spoke about giving you some money for your boiler, that's no problem at all, but Right the Hand made a comment about that I had ridiculed him about a death in his family, and I just wanted it known for everybody listening that is not the case. I did not ridicule.
That's absolutely the case.
anyone.
I saw the words you wrote,
Chris,
bro. You're a
not,
piece of garbage.
Right the Hand,
No,
you're
I'm not going to
supposed
let
be
him sit here and
interrupting.
lie, bro. Bro, just man up to
But
what you said, bro.
You can talk.
Man up to what you said.
Yeah, but
Okay, let's get the final thoughts from.
If you're gonna
and then
defend this guy,
we'll-
then I mean, hey, that just talks.
No, we'll give you an opportunity to respond, but I just don't feel like we have an argument when we're doing the final thoughts. That's all.
I don't want the argument. Right the Hand, if you can show anywhere that I ridiculed you.
It was
then
deleted.
that
Somebody
would be
deleted
great.
it.
Could
I saw
please
it. I saw
finish?
you write it. Somebody deleted it. So it's all, bro. You don't need to. If you wanna, I know what you are.
Right
I
the
know what you
Hand,
said.
Right the Hand.
That's fine.
Okay, let's try it this way. Right the Hand, if you felt.
I
that
saw what
made
you
fun
wrote,
of-
bro. You're barking up the wrong tree. You're a piece of garbage.
If
You'll
you
always be it.
felt-
You made fun of a death. You're a piece of garbage. Go away. Don't. I'm not gonna give you any more
If you
time.
if you felt that I made fun of your
Don't give a
circumstances,
shit.
then I deeply apologize to you. I'm very
No,
sorry
you
for your
bro.
loss.
You wrote it in a condescending manner. You knew exactly what you were doing, bro. You knew exactly what you were doing, and you took information that really shouldn't even have gotten to you and used it in a dickhead way. You are the worst of the worst, and now here you are trying to come on and justify it so that people don't think you're the piece of garbage that you are, bro. I'll tell everybody exactly what you said, bro. You when you found out that somebody died, you're like, oh, heard your wife and kids left you. You're a piece of garbage, dude. I know exactly what you wrote, and then somebody and who was a mod deleted it, or maybe you deleted it. You wrote it twice. Twice you said that, and twice it got deleted. And that's when Ranty must have said, yo, you got to stop. And then that, whatever. You are what you are, bro. That's what you are. So own up to it. Own up to whatever was in your life. You were so weak that you used some information like that against somebody just because of what they believe. You are the worst of the worst, bro. But that's good. That's good. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Right, Paige, do you want to do your final thoughts there?
Yeah, it was great to have you back again, Ranty. It's been a fantastic show. Yeah, I think Right the Hand has a point. People need to stop saying things or typing things that they wouldn't say in real life because they're protected by their computer screen. You know, we have to go back to caring about each other, you know, and being nasty or ridiculing somebody, especially over something like that, there's just no need. You know, like the stuff Nappy was saying to me today, there's just no need for it. You know, we can gently has proven that we are able to have a conversation quite decently, you know. So that's all I want, just, you know, be a little bit more caring. Think twice before you type something.
Thank you
Good
very
night,
much,
everyone.
Paige. Right, Rob Keane, final thoughts there, please. Okay, right, SE Montreal.
Yes, sir. Good show, Ranty. Good to have you back. And shout out Gently's. It takes a lot of guts to come on a show like that. I know what it feels like, bro. And yeah, good show. Good night, everybody.
Cheers. Real Bob Dole?
Yeah, I joined kind of late, but I think that mine and Gently's conversation had a pretty good through line there. I'll just respond to what he said, after our conversation was done and you gave him some time to say what he was going to say. He already had agreed in our conversation that if he didn't have his senses to use, any of his 5 senses, that he wouldn't even have an understanding of things existing. He wouldn't be able to. We agree on that. And his point about if you can't go to the thing, then you can collect data and eventually you'll get better or more data and eventually you have an idea about what it is like claiming that if somebody was born with none of the 5 senses, has never seen anything, touched anything, smelled anything, heard anything, or tasted anything, that person with no experience with any of the senses whatsoever could pick up a stick and tap something enough times until they had enough data that they would understand what that thing was that they were tapping with a stick. That's what we're like whenever we start trying to talk about things out in space. We don't have any of our 5 senses out in space. We've never been there to use our 5 senses at space, at the sun, at Mars, any of those places. So we would be like that person born. That's what we're like with things in space. And no matter what device it is, we can't pick up a stick or a device or anything else and use it in the direction of space enough times to detect what that thing is without any of our senses. We can't do it.
Okay, thank you very much. And finally, right the hand.
Yeah, I concur with Aaron there. How personal verification. And then if you're going to point something at the sun and it's going to do something, right? That doesn't prove what the sun is. Even if you take that thing and point it at a TV and it does the same thing, that doesn't mean the sun is a TV, right? It just means that under those conditions, the sensor in your hand does the same thing. That doesn't make what is in front of it what's in front of it when it does the thing. Like that would be kind of a little ridiculous to assume that. So yeah, good show. Glad to hear your back, Randy.
Cheers, mate. Right, yeah, I think I'd like to actually hear a debate between Gently's channel and the real Bob Dole. Maybe they could get into that again. Yeah, it was, and I think it was an interesting thought concept there between the two, and see where that was actually going to go. Yeah, Gently, would you be up for that?
Yeah, I could be in for that. As long as one stipulation, it actually gives me a chance to answer.
Yeah, that's one thing we will do. If you definitely come up for just a one-on-one, you definitely get all the time in the world to answer anything that you want until you finish, basically. So, if you're up for that, yeah, there's something we can arrange.
Yeah, all good. Whenever.
Sounds good. Right, okay, well, we'll be in touch. Right, guys, right, I'll just pop myself on mute and I'll say goodbye to the audience. I'll speak to you in a minute.
Not bad, eh, Gently? Is that what you came over for? Did you just want to chat?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I wasn't sure if I was muted or not. I've flicked off. Yeah, I always come over for a chat. It's always good for a chat.
You know the tautology thing. I think you're missing the point of it, but I mean, I'll leave you with it for the minute, because
I've read it about 100 times. I promise you, it's nonsense. It makes say it back to me the way you understand it, because the way I've read it, it just doesn't make any sense.
Right. Okay. It's a T-shirt design, right, for the back of a T-shirt.
Right. Okay.
So it says if A is parallel to B, then A is parallel to A, and B
Right,
is
stop
parallel to B.
Right, stop there. So A and B are so in your tautology. So
It's no, you're saying it's a tautology, right? It's just a statement.
It's a self-proven evidence, right? It's a self-proven logic.
It's just a logical statement, right?
Right. So, but that's what a tautology is. It proves itself, or it proves. So it can be a two-parter.
No. A tautology would be like if A is parallel to B, then A is also not parallel to B. That would be a tautology, wouldn't it?
and then one of those would be true. Yeah. But you're going with the true, so it's still a tautology. You just don't have the. It's proven itself rather than
so
proving a
it's
negative.
a proof within itself. Brilliant.
Yeah, okay. So you've got,
I like that.
So what it does, that logic, is it defines A as A. It doesn't define it as anything else other than A. And you've got an A, a singular A, yeah? And A
What do you mean
is
singular?
parallel. Eh?
What do you mean singular?
Let's start from the beginning. So A, singular,
if A is parallel to B.
Okay, but you haven't got two A's and you haven't got three A's and you haven't got,
it doesn't put a number. There's no number on it in it. It's a logical statement.
Exactly.
It's a thought.
Exactly.
Thought idea.
So A is a singular because it cannot be a
Well,
plural.
if you want to think of it as a singular, yes.
No. That's what it reads as.
Okay.
Like it's not like I'm inferring it or anything. That is what your logical statement actually says.
Okay.
Like if I write the word the, T-H-E, you can't read that as me saying first, right? It is the. Right? What you've written reads as A.
Yeah.
And
If
that
A is parallel to B.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then A is parallel to A. So that means A is parallel to itself.
Yeah. Wherever you place A, it will always be parallel to, because if A is parallel to B, then wherever you place A will also be parallel to wherever else you could place A. It's just the sort of, it goes over and the top. But I mean, that wasn't the point. The point of that, right, was for a T-shirt, but it was also like a little fishing hook, right? A little, like a fly fishing or something, like casting a hook out.
I get you.
Right,
it's
okay.
the talking point. It's to draw people in. I get you.
Okay, so the next part
Can see what it is.
the next part is the bit that's more important, right? That states, because that first one's just like a setup, right? It's to get you talking about parallel lines and actually thinking about them.
Yeah. I'm thinking about A being parallel to B, and then you say A is parallel to A.
Yeah.
But A is a singular, so it's parallel to itself, and then the logic falls down for me there.
Right, yeah, well, that's what I said. It was made up for a T-shirt. I was mixing up. I didn't make it up. I found the parallel line mathematical symbol, and then I found the logical symbol for if then, and then and. So when it wrote it out, it looked like it was quite impressive, right? And it does actually have a statement. It does say something, as we've just right. So wait a minute.
I could rewrite that so it actually makes what you want to say true.
Okay,
but what you've actually written is gibberish.
No, it does. It makes perfect sense.
No.
Yeah, it does, because it involves you into this conversation, right? And then once you're actually in this conversation right now, you get to hear the next bit. Now, the next bit, you surely can't deny that, right? Or is that the bit that you don't want to get to?
No. We can get to that next bit. No, I like the hook. So go on, bring me into the next.
So the next bit is if horizontals are parallel to the horizon. Sort of like it's a little bit of a switch between A and B, but it's just the horizontal and the horizon. And then it says then, like following on from the last one, then horizontals are parallel to horizontals.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like if A is parallel to B and then you replace A with horizontal, then you can see why A can be parallel to A, because they're just the same line, aren't they, in the same position?
Yeah, but none of that statement has any bearing on the shape of the ground.
No. See,
Like
the whole hook is
or-
for you to get to realise that if horizontals are parallel to horizontals, then there is no way, if you're using Euclidean geometry, that is, that parallel lines can ever intersect, because the definition is they can't intersect. So what you're left with at the end of this, as you call it, a tautology, which is a fully complete logical statement with the proof contained, which I like the idea of that. So we've got a tautology that states that horizontal lines are parallel and therefore cannot intersect.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I could write the tautology. I could actually write the logic
It sort
statement
of
that actually
screws
says
your idea of vertical lines
because
not being
what you've
parallel.
done-
Because that would mean horizontals intersect. And if they're parallel, they can't intersect. So there's something wrong there. Isn't there?
There is, if you are operating within two parameters. One, solely within Euclidean geometry.
Yep.
And also solely that you are using Euclidean geometry and not the orientation of gravity.
Yeah, but we are using Euclidean geometry. Surveyors use Euclidean geometry. And, we do use Euclidean geometry in reality.
Do surveyors add the 8 inches per mile squared?
But you tell me, to the water level, do they add it or subtract it, or what? Do they measure the horizontal first?
When they're doing observations, they actually add.
They do measurements. They don't do observations. That's the photographer does that. Like a surveyor takes measurements.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I was just being colloquial, but to be fair, it's just an
I like you know me. You know me.
But yeah, okay. So fair enough. They're taking a measurement, right? Do they add anything to the measurements, Beth, that you know of?
I wouldn't know. I'd just take the measurements.
Right, but they do, don't they?
I don't know. Like I wouldn't. If I'm measuring a horizontal and I want to find a horizontal, I would just measure it. I wouldn't add anything and take anything away after I've measured it. Would you?
Well, it depends, because if I went from place to place and I measured the horizontal and I found that all the angles didn't work with the distances between them, I would have a problem.
We have done this before, haven't we, Gently? I mean, I don't think we need to do this for everybody else. But
no, we've done it. Yeah,
how do you measure an angle difference between a horizontal at the point that it intersects with a horizontal? Like, where do you can't measure that distance because horizontals don't intersect. We've got a basic geometric proof of that fact.
Okay, so let's look at this a different way then. So say we're both out at sea, yeah? And I sail off and you stay where you are, yeah?
Yep.
And I go over your horizon, yeah? You can't see me, and it doesn't matter if you class it as over or not. Just I go past your horizon and you are past my horizon, yeah? How do we know at that point that we have the same horizontal, given the fact
horizontals would still be parallel to the horizon all the time, wouldn't they?
But yeah, exactly my point. But we've got different horizons now, Dave.
Yeah, but if a straight line is parallel to another straight line, then the straight lines are going to be parallel, right?
So if we were both at sea, our horizon, the 360-degree circle, as we turn around, we see the horizon 360 degrees around us. Yeah, that could easily be the chord of a sphere. And of course, any horizontal from your point would be level and horizontal to that chord.
Yeah.
but that would be the same at any point on the sphere. So you don't define the shape underneath you just because
No, you
level and horizontal.
You define the words that you use. So, would you agree that any straight line or straight lines, right, that are parallel to the same straight line are parallel to each other?
Yes.
Right. So if that's like a fact, that's provable as well, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right,
No, I'm going to give you that.
So
one.
the horizontals then, are they parallel to the horizon?
Yes.
Right, okay. So if they are, they would be the same straight lines, right? Because horizontals are the same straight lines in a very, well, in the same position, right? Horizontal. I mean, they could be anywhere,
Again.
anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if they are parallel, then they can't intersect.
Euclidean, if you're using Euclidean on a 2D surface, on a planar surface, right?
Yeah,
but
in reality, in 3D.
Yeah, but you could. The statement that you just said still holds true on a sphere.
No,
what you end up with
you can't have
straight.
A horizontal is a straight line. And if that is parallel to the horizon,
hang on.
then the horizon must be a straight line.
Yes.
Or the horizontal must be a curved line.
Yeah, but your horizon...
Which one are you going to go with?
Ends, doesn't it? There's a limit to your horizon.
Is a horizontal a straight line, gently?
I would go with horizontal being a straight line, yeah.
Okay, then. And is the horizontal parallel to the horizon?
Yes.
Right, okay. So that would make the horizon a straight line also, wouldn't it?
No.
How can something that's a straight line be parallel to something that is also a straight line, but not...
It's parallel, it's parallel to it on the planar, right? So as you're saying that as a planar reference, so you would effectively be saying the Earth was flat. But I know that's not what you're saying, but you know where I'm coming from, that it's a planar surface, right? But on a sphere, you can have a planar surface if you take the chord. But the chord, the end of the chord, is the horizon.
Gently,
so your horizontal carries off into space. Once you reach that chord, no
But
matter
the
where
horizontals
you are on a
wouldn't
sphere,
intersect, would they? They can't intersect. Because if they're parallel to the same straight line...
But you could only measure one horizontal at a time.
What do you mean?
You could... So...
all horizontals will be parallel, gently. I mean, surely you're not trying to get around this.
They will on a planar
Rumpus was
surface,
clever enough to run out of the way and disappear from it.
Well, I don't blame him. Yeah, on a planar surface, all horizontals will be parallel.
Well, that's what a level in reality establishes, a horizontal plane of reference. So that's the horizontal plane that we're talking about. Exactly that plane.
Yes, but this is my argument. There is more than one plane.
Yeah, and they will all be parallel
any part of the sphere.
to the horizon, always.
Yes, but at any part of the sphere. So you've just got to conceptualize a ball of water that you're standing on.
I'm not going to conceptualize parallel lines intersecting, because that's ridiculous. That's fight the flat earth geometry, that, gently. You're not going to do that, are you? Don't try and justify that man's geometry that he's just made up. Or you're not saying you're like him. You've got a thought process like him. That you can define parallel lines as intersecting with each other. Dangerous.
Dangerous.
Bendy straight lines and triangles with more than 180 degrees.
Oh, it's a fantastic place they live in, isn't it?
He's gone. I don't know whether his connection went.
Oh, is he gone?
He's come back.
No, he's
No,
there.
I'm back. I dropped for a second. I don't know what went on there.
Discord keeps like making you not be able to hear people, or when you're talking they can't hear you. Like all of a sudden it just like drops you out.
Discord.
No, I had that with
Discord.
Yeah. No, when you were talking to Rumpus earlier, I could hear Rumpus talking. I think you knew the fucking hell is Rumpus talking to. Bizarre.
Yeah, so you are going to go and fight the flat Earth geometry with these intersecting parallel lines.
So after our conversations, I have actually tried to learn some spherical geometry. It's way more complex than like Euclidean geometry.
I know, because it's not real.
But
yeah,
no, oh, hang on, no, you can't say it's not real because you can plot the surfaces on a football.
Yeah, that's a Euclidean shape, dude.
A sphere?
Yeah.
Yeah, the shape of a sphere is non-Euclidean, though.
No.
The
A
surface
sphere
of a
is
sphere.
Euclidean. It's defined within
The
Euclidean
surface-
geometry.
The surface isn't.
Yeah,
The surface isn't.
The surface is defined within the solid geometry as being that which bounds the solid. So yeah, the surface of a sphere is defined within Euclidean geometry.
Yes, but Euclid has no axioms, no theorem, nothing on the actual surface of a sphere.
Exactly.
You can't.
You can.
Exactly. You don't.
You can.
Where's the axioms and
that's
the theorems and the postulations? Where are all of those for the geometry that you're imagining?
Okay, imagining again. I'm not imagining it,
Well,
because I didn't make it
right,
up, so I
okay.
can't be imagining.
It's fight the
Right,
flat
so-
Earth geometry, though, right? Because
Hang
you've
on,
got
hang on,
parallel
hang on. Look-
lines intersecting. You've
Yeah,
got
'cause
straight lines that
if
bend.
you have parallel lines that intersect, you
I'll-
literally have to imagine it because it's something we see, like with train tracks and stuff, but it's not something that actually happens. It's just an apparent thing.
Yeah. Okay. So hang on, just a second. So Bev, if I
That's different.
you dropped out there, dude. I don't know what I said. Bev, sorry, Paige. If I draw parallel lines on a piece of paper, while it is on that plane, they are parallel, right? They'll never cross.
Right. Yep.
Right? If I fold that piece of paper diagonally, then those parallel lines cross. So all
They're
I've
not
done is
parallel
change-
lines, then, are they?
No,
They're not parallel
Yes,
lines anymore.
Hello,
the
hello,
lines.
hello.
Hang
You're
on.
talking about paraboloids,
Jimbo.
hyperparaboloids.
Jimbo.
So what? Let us talk about it.
Yeah. So what you have?
Just saying.
Yeah.
if
So
you've got
what you have?
parallel lines that are crossing, then they're not parallel lines anymore.
But in reference to the surface that you originally put them on, they are. All you've done is change the orientation of the surface. The lines themselves don't change. It's the surface that does.
Have.
So what are you saying? You can change the surface that things are on? How do you do
Yes,
that?
and it will have a.
What do you mean you can change the surface?
Okay.
Not with the
Well, like I just
calculation,
said-
surely.
No. Well, yeah, exactly. Or deflating a balloon, or
Yeah, that's
folding
a
a balloon, or folding
balloon.
a
Is that
piece
what
of
we're
paper.
talking about? Yeah, we all know you can do
We're
that.
talking about the Earth.
Yeah.
So we can't change the surface of
You
the
can
Earth.
get an apple and you can eat it. Brilliant.
Guys, I'm giving you an example of a way which geometries can change on a surface. That's all I'm saying. I'm not equating a balloon to Earth.
Yeah, we understand
I'm just
that they can do that. But we're saying
Right,
that
that's
the-
it.
the
But hang on,
geometry-
Paige.
But the geometry that's used to do surveying is Euclidean, with all the proper definitions, axioms, postulates. It's all Euclidean in Cartesian coordinates. The x, y, z. That's all they ever do is measure everything on a flat plane with Euclidean geometry. But then you want to bring along your model and say, oh, but if we think about it being this geometry, we can do this and this and this and this and this. Like, well, okay, you can think about it that way for your model, but on Earth,
Have a quick think about this then, Paige. So you're on about the x, y, z coordinates, Cartesian coordinates. So what you can do is set up a three-dimensional grid section, Effectively, that is a box. Now you can put a football in a box and measure from the wall of the box to the surface of the football. And when you do, you come up with the equation x squared plus y squared plus z squared equals r squared, right? And that's a constant. So you do have within Cartesian coordinate systems the surface of a sphere that is mappable within that.
Plus y squared plus z squared
Plus
equals
z squared
r squared.
equals r squared. Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that, dude.
Yeah, that's how you.
No, I think you've joined up a load of what seems like Pythagorean, and then added an r on the end of it. You've just magicked an r squared into the end of it.
Are you talking about Euclid?
Because you do realise
talking about Cartesian
something squared,
for a spherical circle.
squared by squared by squared, and then end up with a squared.
What?
Yeah,
no, you don't, Bev.
What? What do you end up with then?
No.
Squared.
A sphere.
You said
If
r squared.
So,
what's r squared?
yeah, that's the that's radius squared. That'd be the radius of the sphere. So that would be the centre of your sphere to the outside.
The square of r.
Yeah, it's r squared, yeah. Because, okay, so when you're going in Cartesian coordinates on the xy plane, right? So forget about z for a minute. So we're not going to third dimension. We're just on the xy plane.
Yeah.
Whenever you square something, you're going to end up with a parabola.
Okay, let's say
Right,
we are at position x3, y3, z3. How about that? Some good numbers for you, right? So let's work this out.
Right.
We're 3 away from the centre at every point.
How many squares have we got in the
3 squared, that's
table?
9. Plus,
Yeah, but what's
plus
our
is
grid?
it plus 9?
Like 6?
Yeah,
Something
9,
like
9
6.
and 9. And that makes 27, and then we have to do the square root of that, right, to find r, is it? Or are we finding r squared? So it's 27 is r squared. So we find the square root of that for r. Is that to define a circle?
Both.
I don't understand. What are we defining there? That's not really the circumference, is it? The what do they call it?
Have you done any algebra?
Circumcenter.
Yeah.
Were you doing algebra
have you
for?
done any
Were you doing algebra for?
I want you to plot parabola on an XY.
No, we were using the coordinates.
LOL. This is
X squared plus y squared.
Yeah, but you
want to.
It's not like that.
You're doing parabolas, are you, to measure a circle?
If effectively,
you're taking 3 points, or well, it's actually 1 point, isn't it? Because you're finding a plotted position x, y, z coordinate. So that's just really one position.
No, I'm finding x, y, z in a squared plane, so it's the same. So it doesn't matter what orientation you put that line in. That line will still be equidistant from the centre.
It is just a point, though, isn't it? X, Y, and Z. That is the point coordinate that you get in. Yeah. So
from 0.
So where's the square that you're making from that 1 point?
You're not making a square because it's radial. Like, you know how you draw a circle.
If you're doing it 3, 3, and 3, then you already know where the 0 point is, because that's where your 0 comes from. Surely, that's where you set your 0 point within your axis of your XYZ coordinate system.
I'm not sure what you're referring to, but
I'm talking about
honestly,
your
I don't.
coordinate system. You're talking about XYZ.
No, you're not. No, you're not representing it in a mathematical sense where it makes any sense to me. You're saying.
No, I'm just like an XYZ coordinate system. I know what XYZ looks like. I'm sure everybody here can imagine what XYZ looks like.
Yes,
it's just 3 perpendicular lines together.
While X, Y, and Z are all squared, do you know what that looks like?
Perpendicular, yeah, they're all perpendicular to each other. Yeah, I know exactly what that is.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
do.
how it works, Bev.
Yeah.
I can show you some examples
X and Y
if you want.
are on the plane, and Z becomes your vertical height difference, right? Z is the vertical, the X and the Y. So let's say X is strafe, left and right, and Y is walk forwards and backwards. That's your X, Y plane.
See, I've always written it the other way around, where Y is vertical. But yes, it would work that orientation
No, Z.
as well. If you...
No, in three-dimensional coordinates, Z is. Come on, gently. I mean, you don't. You've
I've
never.
always done it
We
the other
know
way
you've
around.
never done any
No,
surveying,
no.
and you don't really know what you're talking about within the surveying realms of X, Y, Z coordinate
Okay, but
systems,
that's
do you?
absolutely nothing to do with Cartesian coordinates and my
It is. The X,
understanding
Y,
of how
Z
you
coordinate
map,
system
of how you-
is the mapping system that they use when they are using GPS. That is
Right,
exactly
but
what they
is
use.
But you've just told me X, Y, and Z squared equals R squared, and you're on about it makes a square.
No,
And like you clearly,
you were on about making a square. I said, what the fuck is
I
that
wasn't.
you're talking about?
I'm putting a sphere
Yeah,
in
he's
a
putting
box
circle
and measuring.
inside the sphere. I mean, inside
You're
the
putting a
square.
sphere inside a box, and then
Yeah,
you're
that's exactly
marking
what I'm doing.
X, Y, and Z, which is a point, because you've got X coordinate, Y coordinate, Z coordinate. You mark them
Yes,
all
and they're all
together and go
squared.
there. That's a point.
Yeah, and they're all squared, so you get this arc all the way around from one to the other. So when you follow them all around, you just get three
Just
circles.
made a box like Minecraft.
And
yeah, you've seen Minecraft, right? Is that what you mean? Like you put your little Minecraft blocks together, blip 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 blip, and make
Bev,
you make a
that
big
isn't-
square.
Bev, I promise you, X squared plus Y squared plus Z squared equals R squared gives you a sphere in Cartesian coordinates. You might argue with that. You may not.
You use squares.
You may not understand that.
How? Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
That's
really
nice.
lost.
I like that.
How does squaring something?
Because
Okay,
it's
so that's what
times
they do
by
with the
itself.
horizon.
You've not even used
Okay,
pi.
so
They do to get the parabola of the horizon. They do that squared thing, and it makes it a parabola.
Are you sure you know what you're talking about here, gently?
Yes, I do.
You've made a sphere from squares, and you haven't even used pi.
That's right. You don't have to.
That's quite good. I like it.
Well,
You
yeah, but
realise,
it's-
is this a surveyor has told you this? Is that what surveyors do? Or
No, Jim. This conversation started from talking about I was trying to learn spherical geometry.
Spherical
it's
geometry,
complicated,
right,
and then we led into this, and then Paige was talking about X, Y, and Z coordinates and Cartesian coordinates, and then we led to this. I wasn't referencing surveying at all. I was just referencing the mathematics of spherical coordinate systems.
okay, yeah. Okay, I mean, we have this thing where you end up Penrosing yourself if you start thinking about stuff that doesn't exist, like straight lines bending and parallel lines intersecting and triangles with more than 180 degrees. And one of them things would be, judging from what you've told us tonight, spherical geometry can use a square plus a square plus a square to equal a square, and from that work out a sphere. I mean, it does sound pretty impressive to me, and I do not even want to imagine what must be going on inside your head, gently.
Okay, so I'll just give you the mathematics then, shall I? And you can have to have you'll try and understand it yourself. It's pretty fucking complex, to be fair. So let me give you the math exchange one. I'll drop it in the.
Did you manage to work out what axioms still stand?
Yes,
And
I'll
which ones
drop
to
the
get rid
axiom.
of, and the common notions as well. All of them ones.
I haven't looked into common notions. I will give you some axioms and I will give you some theorem. Those I've got ready to go. Surface integrals.
Right,
Give me a second.
Do you know what you're talking about them, or are you just sort of going to give us some stuff that somebody's wrote down? Because, I mean, some stuff that people write down looks really complicated and people go like, ooh, that sounds really clever. But it doesn't actually mean anything at all, and nobody can ever actually explain it. But they seem to think that just sort of showing it, like Rumpus did earlier with his, like he's got a surveying book that can completely disregard any personal proof you might have that when you've actually done some work practically to research something. Rumpus can say he's read a book, and that tops it. Is this that sort of thing what we're doing here? Spherical, because in spherical geometry, right, you get rid of, it's a non-Euclidean geometry because you get rid of some of the axioms and postulates and propositions and everything from Euclidean geometry. And but do you take the definitions, or have you got all of the new definitions as well of this new geometry? Or do you think just saying that you've got some geometry is good enough?
Well, it's good enough, isn't it? I mean, you see, I've got this calculator, so me and math, we don't get on. I'm not awful at math, but I'm not great either. And it's not like the logic I've got no issue with, it's just the numbers themselves. So when it comes to me doing math, it's just a massive problem. But it doesn't mean so I can't do it. But the fact that I can understand the logic is the point.
You can understand the logic of spherical geometry, or the logic of normal geometry, Euclidean geometry, let's call it.
Of any of them, I can see the logic.
Well, in Euclidean geometry, you start off with a point and then go to a line, and you describe all of those sort of things, and then in the postulates it says, "Let it be granted that a straight line may be drawn from any one point to any other point." Now, earlier on, within the definitions, it says, "A straight line is that which lies evenly between its extreme points."
Right.
Well, does that straight line get redefined in your geometry?
Yes.
What
you
does it...
lose the word straight.
Pardon?
You just lose the word straight.
Oh, so there is no straight lines?
No, it's just a line.
Okay, right. So there's no straight lines then in your geometry?
It's just called a line, right?
Yeah.
Now, in a planar
that's a straight
sense,
line, right? A line is a straight line.
No, not necessarily.
Yeah, it is. A line is a straight line within mathematics. It's the same thing. A line is a straight line.
No. It depends. See now.
Now you're blurring the lines now, but gently.
No, I'm not. You just asked me about this other geometry, so now I'm trying to verbalise this other geometry to you, and you drop me straight back to Euclidean. Okay, so we've superseded. Yeah, so you move the word straight, and it's a line. Okay. Now it can be straight,
but because you're talking about it can't.
No, but it depends on whether you're taking the chord of a sphere and looking straight down.
That's not spherical geometry. The chord is cutting through the centre of a sphere. Therefore, that's Euclidean, not spherical. Spherical is just the surface of
Bev. I didn't.
Did you even put
say
it in
that
there?
It was. I've put the spherical. Just someone actually beat me in. I didn't notice it, so it's in there twice.
Coordinate
system.
Even Mailman saying a straight line is a straight line. There's a reason it's called a straight line, not a line. Do you like my little crying baller eye?
I did. Oh, fucking hell. You asked me for that citation earlier, Bev, and I dropped him in here.
Spherical geometry is the geometry of a two-dimensional surface of a sphere. A two-dimensional surface.
Okay. All surfaces are two-dimensional, Bev.
A two-dimensional is length times breadth. That's what it means. It's 2 dimensions.
Yes, and all surfaces are two-dimensional.
Surface. A two-dimensional surface is a flat surface. It's a plane. 2-dimension. A plane surface is 2-dimensional.
All surfaces are flat. Hang on. Let me find this. I've got it. So here is. I wonder if I can quiet myself. Quiet it.
So we do this sort of stuff over on the level. This is just basic geometry and wording, really. They like to say it's semantics, but we like to say this is getting our definitions correct so we can understand what we're talking about. As is. Oh. That
sort of like being on the
it won't do it. If you go into general and scroll way the fuck up there, I have given you 2 links to Riemannian geometry and something else. I can't remember what it was now. One has the axioms and the other one has the theorems. So you do have access and you can read those out.
So
they are in the chat.
No
just
new
way
definitions.
I believe there are.
Well, you'd be the first person to ever show me any new definitions, because you cannot redefine a straight line. The same as you cannot redefine a circle. You can't redefine a square, and you can't redefine a triangle.
Yeah,
I know you like to try, or you like to give people the idea that you can. Just like you can't measure an angle to a curve, you need 2 straight lines. I mean, it's provable. All of this stuff is provable.
Yeah, to do that, you need the tangent.
Yeah, you need straight lines. Yeah,
tangent lines. Yes, but once you've got once you establish that you have tangents, you can take the tangent away. The circles stay orthogonal. Now, if you have orthogonal circles, you have an
the
angle.
Straight lines would be perpendicular. The circles just remain circles. They can't be. They can't be perpendicular, because perpendicular is a relationship within a right angle, and you can't have an angle to a curve. It's just impossible. I'd suggest that you stop putting it in people's minds that it's possible, because it just isn't. It's provably not possible.
Yeah, but that's within Euclidean geometry.
No, in reality, you cannot measure an angle to a curve. Simply stated, an angle is the division of a circle by the radial lines. Now, the radial lines of a circle are straight. That's what an angle is. It's a division of that circle into an amount. You cannot have a radial line being curved.
360 little straight lines around the circle.
Well, 3,600 if you want to go to seconds.
Yep.
I think that depends. I mean, it depends.
All
if
straight
you're
lines,
with...
though, right? Gently. You can't replace one of those straight lines with a curved line, can you? Because you can't have a curved radial line for a circle. It's just not possible.
Okay, but I've not argued that it is, Bev. I don't get where you're coming from by telling me that. I know,
I'm just telling you. These angles being between straight lines it's provable, right? It's provable in reality, and it's provable with Euclidean geometry, because it's logical. It's a logical system, and that's how we prove shit to ourselves. Right, now you can't say, well, that's just in Euclidean geometry, Because what you have to do is make up something else that isn't reality and say this exists in this place that isn't where we are at the minute.
No, I don't have to do that, Bev. I just have to have access to the geometry, which is also equally axiomatic. Once I have two sets of geometries, right, everything you say about horizontal, level, vertical, perpendicular, all those words, they are axioms of all geometry.
No, they're
what
definitions.
you're saying,
they're definitions. They're not axioms.
Okay, definitions. They are definitions of all geometry.
Yeah, no, but straight lines,
and so
straight.
You're
You can't
not
put that on the surface of a sphere and say it's straight.
I've not suggested that you can.
You will do, because that's within what you have to say. Yeah, I've been in this for far too long, gently. It is.
It isn't. It isn't. You redefine.
So you're
straight
on the
lines.
surface of a sphere right now.
Yes.
Okay. Now, is horizontal a straight line?
Yes.
Is it parallel to the horizon?
Yes.
So the horizon is a straight line.
Yes. If. Okay. Now you have to listen to my if. I can see my limit of my vision is to the horizon, and that is 360 degrees. If I am on a sphere, that 360 degree horizon strikes a chord through the sphere. So my horizontal is planar to the plane of that. So yes, but that doesn't mean. So what you end up with is all lines are tangential, and they will all go off into space.
Did you say the horizon was a chord?
Yes, the limit of your horizon would strike a chord.
No, I'm not too sure. That sort of chord that you're striking there is a musical chord. It's not the same sort of thing.
No, you're just not. No.
And like,
no, you
how
know what a
could
chord
you?
on a sphere?
Yeah, I know what a chord of a
is?
circle is.
Right.
But like, how would you see that chord? Like, I don't understand. You do realise that there is.
I wouldn't see it, Bev. I wouldn't see it. We're not talking about what I see. I'm answering your question about, is it level? Is it parallel? I'm answering those questions.
Parallel to the horizon.
So, all I see of the horizon is the line of the horizon, right?
Yep.
I see the ground leading up to it.
It's like the orientation of it as well.
Agreed. I see the orientation of it, but that's orientated to the ground, and the ground is an orientation.
It's not orientated.
Of gravity,
no.
So.
The water level, right, does not orientate itself to what's underneath it. It's completely on its own, freestanding, isn't it? It establishes its own equilibrium and even altitude. Yeah.
It establishes its own. Is it sentient?
Yeah, a water level. Yeah, of course it is.
Water does.
Yeah.
Yes, but it isn't sentient.
The water. Yeah, the water level, a tool to establish a horizontal. It would definitely establish a horizontal level with the water inside it. Would come to an equilibrium of even altitude, wouldn't it? And that, because it's even altitude, it's not a tangent, because it's not touching a curve at any point. It's of even altitude, just in the air. Horizontal.
Yeah. There's so many things I want to break down about what you just said. So, yes, firstly, water isn't sentient. It doesn't find a level. It's not finding its own equilibrium.
Yes, it does, gently. What are you talking about?
No. There are forces acting on it, and those forces equalise.
Absolute pressure state, right? Zero. We have been doing a little bit of work on this. Hydrostatics.
Absolute.
Yeah. There's a zero pressure state. That's where the water is. Anything below that water level takes you into a positive pressure state, and anything above that water level takes you into a negative pressure state. As far as the water's concerned,
such,
anyway.
I was going to say there's no such thing as negative pressure.
Yeah, there is. Of course there is.
No, but the water will always be under pressure.
No,
you
not
won't
at
be
the zero.
a zero state.
Yeah, the zero is where the water level is. That's how water finds its level.
Sorry,
It finds that zero pressure state.
Are you talking about the F net zero?
No, I'm talking about the water level.
Yeah, the zero.
The point at which the water finds its equilibrium.
But yeah, equilibrium where like there's no more water and it's air above it.
Yeah.
That is F net zero. That's not zero, it's
Absolute.
F net zero.
Yeah, absolute. Yeah. Yeah, now we're on the same page, yeah.
No.
Yeah, because gauge pressure, gauge pressure is that absolute zero plus atmospheric pressure that you call. Yeah? So that zero is the absolute zero. Yeah, we know what we're doing. We've been looking into this. We've got a few little tests going.
Yeah.
Like you said you were doing a video on that. I meant to ask you before.
I am.
Yeah,
It's costing me a fucking boatload of money, Bev, to be fair enough. Yeah, I am going to demonstrate air pressure within a vacuum container.
Within a vacuum?
It's costing me a load of money. Yes. I am literally going to have air pressure inside a vacuum vessel.
Okay. How big a vacuum you reckon you can pull? Do you reckon you could get to? Is it 33 feet?
What? Eh?
33
inches of mercury?
No, what? 33 feet of water. I don't know what the inches of mercury is. You'd have to do your density calculation.
I don't know
difference.
I don't know about the 33 feet. I don't know.
33 feet of water.
I suspect that it's somewhere around 26 inches, maybe around 29. It's somewhere around there. The best I'm going to be able to do is about 24, 25 inches of mercury. So I'm at least 10 to the negative 6 torr or something like that.
So what are you doing then? You're putting the mercury in the vacuum state inside the...
Oh, no, the inches of mercury is just it's just a term, it's just a measurement. I'm not actually using any mercury. I'm using a vacuum gauge basically, but it just measures in inches of mercury.
Oh, right.
It's just a yardstick, if you like. It's not an actual thing. But yeah, I'm gonna pull a vac. It's just costing me a fortune because I'm using 25mm perspex and stuff like that. I need 4 vacuum pumps and anti-chambers and stuff. I've got most of it going. I've got some pictures of some of the bits that I've actually made up for it and stuff like that.
What do you reckon you're going to get to then? A bar?
I'm going to accurately represent the Earth's atmosphere within
one
a vacuum.
bar.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
gently. Guess what?
Go on.
We're doing that as well.
You are?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can have gas pressure in a vacuum then?
Well, we're pulling a vacuum a different way. We're using the water. We're using the water level to pull a vacuum. Oh, thingy. We can.
Yeah, but you'll be fighting. Yeah, but if you do that and you let air in, you'll be fighting gravity.
But that's the thing. They said 33 feet. You're not meant to be able to pull it because the air within the what does he say? The air within the water creates an air state. The vacuum turns into air, but we've got distilled water. So how far do you reckon we could get with distilled water? Do you reckon we could get above 33 feet? 10 meters. 10.3 meters.
Unless you've got dry risers, I very much doubt you'll get anywhere above that.
Got a water level, dude. That's all we do. We do it all dead simple. You spend loads of money doing all of your sort of stuff, and we do it with a little pipe. Well, not a little pipe, pretty long pipe.
Yeah, but there's quality and there's quantity, Bev. And mine will be full on quality. I'm going to run it for the entire weekend, and it will be gas pressure within a vacuum constantly. I mean, the thing that blew Marble Science did
within a vacuum.
Yep. I am going to have a vacuum chamber with air pressure within it measured quantified for an
How
entire
are you going to keep
weekend.
that air pressure inside the vacuum? What are you doing? What vessel have you got it to keep it in? The air pressure?
It's all a big secret, Bev, but just watch the video. Like I said, it's not going to be any time particularly soon. I might actually need to get Christmas out of the way. Like I said, it's not cheap for the equipment that I need to buy. I've got sort of half of it, but, you know, I've still got to get the vacuum pumps, and they're like 80 quid a go.
Right, so what do you reckon then? Because the air pressure, right? It's a bit hard to tell what pressure is at the minute, isn't it? But you've got a difference. When we started looking into the water level, it got a bit freaky. So you'll have to pop round. We'll have a good chat about this, because we've got some interesting sciencey stuff to add to our water level test.
Okay, yeah, all right. I'll have a nose in and see what you got going on then. It probably won't be maybe weekend, I guess.
Yeah, well,
to be fair, I'm up at 7 o'clock and it's 2:30 now.
I know, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't want to get into it now because I know I'll keep going for an hour or so.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's weird that you've done that, and we're also doing a similar sort of test. See, what I reckon is if we get a pipe, and you know, like water pressure causes pressure, and the difference between the head of the water, the vertical column.
Yes.
Well,
yeah,
if you fill a pipe up and then seal one end of it, then go down and take the pipe away from the top, obviously put a vertical head on it. Once you reach 33 feet, the pressure within the water at the bottom of the pipe should be greater than the so-called atmospheric pressure. So the question becomes, what would happen within the water level at that point?
What's it made out of? Is it glass?
What?
Your
No,
pipe.
It's a pipe. It's a water level.
Is it rubber? Oh, it'll deflect.
What do you mean it'll deflect?
You'll get deflect. So I don't know whether I'm picturing this right, but I'm imagining you hoisting a pipe of water up in the air.
Yeah, or just running it down the side of a hill.
Well,
so it's only vertical head, isn't it? You know, like the vertical distance between the top and the bottom. I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah, but it won't go anywhere. You will pull a vacuum, but you will pull a vacuum, but it will be enough to hold the water.
For how long?
Because what
you reckon they could get the water at the bottom end of that pipe at a greater pressure than the outside atmospheric 1 bar?
No,
it's meant to be 33 feet.
Yeah, so that's not vertical. If you just lie it down the side of a hill, you want to go over.
Yeah, it is. It would be
a bridge or
vertical
something.
distance. You know how you measure a horizontal and then drop down a vertical? Well, that is what vertical distance is, yeah.
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 Okay. You're going to run into a couple of problems.
I'm not.
Firstly, because if you're using a rubber pipe.
Yeah.
Okay, so a rubber pipe isn't going to hold a mental vacuum; it'll collapse. So what will happen is if you do that, the pipe will collapse from the top, work its way all the way down, and the water will go out one end as the pipe is collapsing behind it.
Yeah,
so it's
about 33 feet. It should equalise out at about 33 feet. Like, there's a definite there's the thing about pressure. At that point where the pressure of one becomes greater than the pressure of the other, something happens. That's science. Let's watch one.
Yeah, but
let's watch it.
Yeah, but if you want to do it the nice way, where you get enough vacuum to actually pull the air. Yeah, because there's an elegance to
It's going to pull a vacuum. If I seal the top end of the pipe, it's going to pull a vacuum. The water is going to have that vertical head of pressure. It is going to get greater pressure at the bottom, and less pressure at the top. Vacuum top, excess pressure at the bottom. Once the bottom pressure gets greater than the so-called atmospheric pressure, which I don't know what that is, but I mean it's measured as a vertical head of water pressure. That's what it's measured as, vertical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just proving the current physics of the. I don't understand.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever done that as a scientific test? Have you ever tried that? Did you even know about it? 33 feet until tonight. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. So that's with normal water, because they say it's meant to separate. You know, like the way you do siphoning, and you can go up and then back down again. Right, well, that's where they get the 33 feet from, because it goes up and then it comes back down again. But it can't go up further than 33 feet because they say, the water separates to air at that top bit, around 33 feet. But that's normal water. We've got distilled water.
And what would be the difference?
I don't know. What do
It's
you
still
think?
got the same
That's
amount of air
science,
in
isn't it? Let's do it, fill the tube up, go and test it, and observe what happens. There's no need to predict anything. Like, we just go and watch what happens.
Okay, yeah, but you're talking about slinging a hose pipe downhill, and I'm talking about, getting yourself a nice, set of glass beakers and doing it, vertically with a nice bit of apparatus, and
Yeah, we've got
being elegant about it. We've
got an auto level.
Hose pipe down the side of the hill.
We've got an auto level. We can actually measure this vertical height. We have. That's well within our capabilities.
So, why are you doing that, Bev?
What?
Just to have an eyeball of it. Why are you doing it just to eyeball it?
Why are you doing yours?
Because I want to prove everybody to everybody that's ever said that you cannot have gas pressure in a vacuum, that you can have gas pressure in a vacuum. And I'm going to show you a vacuum chamber with gas pressure in it. Now, you're going to argue about the way I did it, and there's all going to be, no, you can't do it like that, that's wrong. But you will be looking at gas pressure within a vacuum container, and that will be undoubtable. So that's why I'm doing it.
I'm doing it because I learned something brand new about water level once we started looking into it. I'll explain it all when I get to do the test.
I bet you will. Is this okay? I'm gonna have to go, both, because it is, it's 20 to 3 in the morning. But,
good night, Jenny.
Yeah, good night, Paige. I'll drop over to the Emma UK surf, and we'll have a chat about it. Maybe on the weekend though.
Yeah. Maybe Sunday. Okay. Because I think we're going to go out and do a couple of tests on Saturday, perhaps.
Okay. Cool. No problem.
All right.
I'll have a look for you when you're in there.
Oh my God. Mailman reckons there's a bigger pressure difference from 0 altitude to 10. Oh shit, my phone just went off. 0 altitude to 10 kilometers altitude than from 10 kilometers to outer space.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Well, what do you think outer space is?
10 to the minus 17 torr.
Yeah, but what does that mean to you? That's only like just a little bit above zero pressure.
A massive differential between 14.7 psi.
No, Paige, you're giving them a vacuum. Paige. Don't do that.
No, don't give us anything. Yeah. But let me just say that I can push. No, this is going to be a bit crude, but I can push a fart out. Yeah, I know. I can push a fart out into the atmosphere.
14.7. Yep.
Yeah, so that means my fart is actually stronger than the atmospheric pressure around it, because otherwise it'd be pushed up my arse, right?
Yeah, it'd be stuck in
the
your
difference, the difference between the Earth's atmosphere and outer space is less pressure than that wet fart.
Wow.
So
really?
Outer space isn't this massively powerful thing that's doing. It's just a little bit above zero.
Then
and if
why
I get in
can't
like
NASA make one anywhere near what they say is out there?
Because
why do they
we've
need
got
6 foot thick walls and stuff?
because obviously in space there's a massive lack of matter, and matter is the thing that gives you pressure because it's force per unit area. So matter has to be the thing that hits the area.
I get ya.
Right? So in a vacuum chamber, it's hard to get all the matter out and keep it out because particulate matter is so small. You're talking about on the molecular level, and a molecule is so small.
It comes in through the concrete, even like it gets.
Yeah, because
sort of sucked in through the concrete.
Exactly, because a molecule is so small that unless it is, perfectly molecularly airtight, you're always going to have a positive pressure in there, or at least more than that you would in space. But of course, because there is no matter in space, but there's no matter in space, so it doesn't need to be any container or anything. It's just it doesn't matter because there's no matter, there's no pressure. That's it.
Just fantastic. This imagination stuff, I dig it. I could imagine all this stuff for days.
Well, yeah, or you can experiment on it. Right, I'll really have to go because it is like fucking.
No
it's
worries.
getting on there. All right, I'll speak to you all again.
See you later.
Shit, dog.
Take care.
Oh, the fucking dog nearly made me fall over. See, this is where I find the biggest annoyance with their side of the argument is that the argument will change depending on who you talk to.
Yeah. They all have their own idea, and
their own
and
way of thinking about it.
They don't
their
take
own way
what
of
anybody else
explaining
says. Whereas we have to defend against everything, and they all have their own idea. And I didn't say that. But then somebody else did say that. So I think you have to start off the conversation. That's why people say to me, "You've had this conversation many times." It's like, yeah, but we have to start again with every new person because
with every new one. Yep. Yeah, it's very frustrating.
I quite like Gently though, because at least he works through stuff and he doesn't end up shouting at you and trying to divert and
insult you, and he's not too bad to talk to at all. And we get so much further if everyone was like that. The argument probably would have been over 4 years ago.
Well,
have you heard from Dawn since?
He's defending the level. He's on the level at the minute, Dawn.
He's on the level?
Yeah, I don't think he can come in and talk to us properly yet. There's a transition period, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like you said, we've always been at this sort of midpoint between two models. We've never really been happy with either model because we don't have a model. We just live in reality. Yeah. And I think that's where Dawn's been as well.
Sort of stuck in a bit of a limbo.
Yeah.
So I don't mind not knowing. When they say, "Oh, well, you got to tell me what the sun is," then. Like, well, I'm not God. I don't know what it is. When you die, ask him. He'll tell you, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, I do know you, or say you can't measure it. I know that I can't work away on how to measure it, so I can't see how anybody else could. I mean, much more. Loads of people like to say, they like to use the idea of somebody smarter than you can.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, who? Well, there's definitely somebody out there that's smarter than you.
There's got to be somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never really sat as a proper...
It is quite fascinating to hear how far they'll go. Like when Rumpus was talking to Nathan the other day about the gas pressure and bouncy balls, he was literally saying that gas was the same as a solid, and then he would switch back to, oh no, they're different. they're elastic and blah blah blah, and then he go back again to saying, oh, but it is analogous, and it's like, does he ever listen back to what he said to like hear? I don't think he ever has. If he would just go back and listen to himself.
It's a tactic they
he'd
have.
probably
If
go,
they take every position, then they can never be wrong.
Yeah, just argue for everything.
Yeah, just argue for everything. I mean, I don't think we got shown tonight
Like Coriolis.
that when
We've got
Rumpus
drift, but
comes
no
in,
drift.
he's not coming in to help or add to the conversation.
No, never.
End up just getting fed down this silly road where you end up arguing over something that Rumpus has led you into it.
Imagine this. Oh, if we just imagine this, then it works. Well, I don't want to imagine it, Rumpus. I want you to either show me that it works in reality or stop telling me I have to believe it. And stop telling my kids they have to believe it.
It's not a case of telling us that we have to. I don't think
well,
that.
In school
I mean, like,
we were told.
Well, yeah, when Rumpus comes in and he says, you say this and you say that and you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't say that. And it's like, well, it's just what people think. I mean, I can't not say what I think if somebody asks me. Especially if I can prove it as well.
Yeah.
So,
oh, my little avocado tree is growing so well. Oh, wow. It's got like 24 new leaves sprouting on it. All my flowers are starting to open. It's beautiful out here now. It'd be hot enough to go for a swim in the river today, I think. The Snowy River's only just a couple of minutes from my place, but you have to sort of wait a month or so after the snow starts to melt for the water to warm it up enough for you to even like put your feet in it. It's so cold.
Bev, it seems like you've taken a lot of time, energy, and dedication into the level horizontal, and I appreciate that. It creates a great conversation all around that topic.
He's been fantastic for the community, hasn't he?
That's true, but what's the next step, right? We can sit here and talk about it for, get ballers on, we can talk about it ourselves and have little disagreements or improvements or whatever, just ideas. What's the next step? What do we do?
Teach reality.
Yeah.
Teach people logic. Teach them how to think for themselves.
Well, just saying something, though, is exactly what ballers do, right?
Well, you just asked me a question and I just said something. Like, what do you want me to say? Not say something? How would that express it?
No, I just responded to what you said, right? You said we should teach logic, right?
Yes.
But that's just saying something.
No, that's teaching logic. What's the difference between saying teaching logic and actually teaching logic to people? I mean, like, you can teach logic, people, through the Socratic method. That is getting them to listen to these conversations. People learn from all sorts of things. All the time.
But what's the... and listen, I'm on the same plane as you, okay? But if there's going to be any advancement in the idea of flat Earth, whatever we want to call it, the plane, right? Just even the
in reality,
minor challenge.
Yeah.
Sorry. Even the minor challenge to a spherical place that we live, right? Just a small, little pinpricks, right? We're not going all in. What's the next step? So if a lot of folks have listened to these shows and they're open to the idea because yes, it's obvious, right? It's reality. You get it. You don't feel it. You don't see it. You don't anything about their model, right? But what's our next step if we're going to. It was super easy for what was his nuts to stick a couple sticks in the ground and be like, "Yep, it's a globe." Apparently, right? That's the story. That's logic. It's the story. Boom, he got it, and then another guy fucking went to the horizon. Boom, yep, yeah, okay, it's a globe. That's super easy. Now, what you're talking about is super rational, right? You know what we talk about is super logical. But what do we do to confirm that?
How do we get from this step to actually teaching it?
It's a personal thing. I mean, not everybody's going to get it.
So we're not going to worry about the education system or anything like that, where it's teaching all our kids any of this stuff. We just worry about it on a personal level. Because I'm cool with that myself.
Yeah, that's all we can do, dude. Yeah, we can't do anything big scale. We can only do what we can do for ourselves.
In your own personal bubble, with your own family, your own friends, that sort of thing. I agree with that, Bev, 100%. Don't worry about the bigger picture. Worry about your own little picture, your own little bubble.
Just no. You can only prove things to yourself, right? So the only thing that matters to you should be what you can do, right? You can't do anything for anyone else. You can try and teach them, can't you?
100%. I worry about my children and my grandchildren, trying to show them the right ways. 100%. And I'll try and prove them things. So I worry about more than just myself, right?
Yeah, it's just teaching the logic. If you teach people logic, they can teach themselves. They gives them a way for them to learn on their own.
Bev, have you try? I know what a water level is. I get it. But have you tried to falsify your idea over a curve? Have you gone out maybe in 100 yards? It's not that far, or 200 yards, 300 yards, right? Have you tried to falsify yourself? Because I know on your whiteboard, and plus I get water, bathtub. I mean, I understand it. It's the ocean. You look out at the ocean. It's flat as fuck. I get it. But falsification, right, is a good way to just confirm logic.
It's part of the scientific method, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So would you imagine that the ballers have ever falsified water level being horizontal? I mean, they say it does establish horizontal, and they do say it curves also. But they don't ever seem to have a distance where it does. But you would imagine that they could falsify the law of hydrostatics, and water level being horizontal. They could falsify it. You would imagine.
Here's what I'm talking about. Here's kind of what I'm talking about. They have done that with one picture, right?
No. You don't falsify things with a picture.
Listen, I know. But they think they do, and that's what's indoctrinating all the fucking people. It's just that one little thing.
Okay, so you're asking me if I've ever falsified a water level.
We are the underdogs.
What people, Aaron? What people is this one little picture indoctrinating? Because my kids haven't seen this one little picture at school. So what people are you talking about? You just talking about people here on Discord.
Well, then they've been told. They've been told they live on a sphere. I'll bet you $1 million.
Yeah, but they're not showing them. They're not showing them Stanley's picture or anything. They're not showing them fucking random bloody Muppet YouTube videos to teach them this stuff. They're not doing this sort of stuff.
What do you mean? Who? Teachers?
Yeah, they don't show them fucking Stanley stuff or bloody whatever his name, the main surveyor. They're not showing Bev stuff in bloody schools. They're just reading what stuff is in textbooks. You're talking about this picture that it's indoctrinating people. This picture ain't doing jack shit to the world.
Listen,
in the bigger picture,
it's a 1 week chapter in your goddamn fucking world science book.
You spoke about this picture. You spoke about this picture.
But it gets further than that. that. So then Hollywood takes
Has
over.
it?
All your cinematographic people take over, and they put.
You spoke about this one picture indoctrinating people, and I'm saying that it's not. That's false.
It's not false.
It is false, 100%.
Okay, so everyone believes the Earth is flat.
You're just
No,
changing
does
the
everyone believe
argument,
that the birds
dude.
are
What are you
sphere?
doing?
What?
Exactly.
Say again.
Wait, you just swapping the argument. You're saying one thing, talking about a picture. Bansaw's saying you're talking about a picture, and then you're saying, so you're saying everyone believes the Earth's flat? What's that got to do with the picture you were talking about?
I think that picture was shown to the whole world, right?
Which picture?
Any pictures that fucking CGI NASA has of showing a globe, right? With water bending. Okay, with water bending. It seems there's no clouds, over the water. They show us on these pictures, right?
Right, so you say, right, because that picture's been seen, that is why everyone seems to think that level is curved. Because I'll give it to you. I give it to you that 99% of the people don't even know that there's an association between that picture that they see and the water level not being horizontal.
How come we were never taught in school then what level is actually? You only learn that out in the field, right?
Yeah, because they don't. They want you to imagine. Like everybody that comes in here, everybody who I've talked to, will know. They'll blatantly tell you they know nothing about surveying. They've never handled a level. The closest they've ever been is to look at a spirit level. They've probably never even used one, and yet they will come in here or wherever and tell me that they know that level's curved and that I'm stupid for saying it's horizontal. That they'll tell me that, saying that they know nothing about it. Now, are you saying that they do that because of that picture that you've seen?
Their mind is not right. I get it. They can't even think about what you're saying. They can't even fathom. Right, fantasy. To them, it's.
So Aaron, I'm gonna prove you wrong right now. I'm gonna prove you wrong right now, Aaron. Right, 3 days ago, I told you I was going to conduct a little experiment with the education system with my kids, right, and get my kids to ask their teacher about water level, right, and set up a scenario of a water level, right, with a T-piece in the middle, right. The answer comes back, right, that it will be level, perfectly straight, perfectly horizontal, right? Because nothing about flat Earth or big blue spinning testicle Earth was ever mentioned. All they spoke about was a water level. Now, the teachers at the moment, right, or some of them, one of them, right, will teach that water is level and a water level is level. So there is still a little bit of hope out there. They're not teaching that water is curved because of these pictures that you're talking about.
I know. I told you it was a 1-week course in your first world science book. It takes 1 week. Just that, what I'm talking about. Just that. Oh, here's the Earth picture of it, and here's moon landing, fucking Buzz jumping off with his leg hanging out, and boom, and then they move on, right?
I never was taught water was curved.
Yeah, Bev's discussion with that surveyor at the side of the road shows that normal people haven't connected what they do on a day-to-day basis with what they think the Earth is in total. They know fundamentally that water is level and horizontal.
No, they know fundamentally, Paige.
Thanks for just cutting me off.
It's only people in this argument that think that water is curved.
When they start thinking about the shape of the Earth, then they twist themselves up. And
exactly.
But if you ask them what level water means, just away from this conversation, and every single person will tell you water is level and horizontal when at rest.
But you are not a credible source. I'm not a credible source. Even if I show them.
What do you mean she's not a credible source? Paige is her own credible source. If Paige has proved it to herself, then what does it matter?
Somebody just cut me off. I don't know who it was. But but the human mind will always go back to that authoritative source. That's what they do. Now we can break out of it, like we're doing, right? But the general population, especially if they hang out with each other, I'm like, oh, dude, somebody showed me a water level, and he thinks the Earth is flat. But clearly, I remember it's round because I saw a picture, right? This is the force you're up against.
Who do you think does that, dude?
Everybody.
No, you're talking about people that don't exist. You're only talking about the people in Gem Panda's server.
Oh, no.
That's all you're talking about. People in reality don't do that.
All the guys I work with, all the people I work with, everybody I know, right? They know that I look into flat Earth, but I don't bring it in hardcore. It's like, yo, man, just checking some shit out, science and stuff. It's a great show because they wonder what I do. Like, who do you hang out with and shit? And I'm like, well, I actually get on these shows, talk about science and geometry and just cool shit. Like, tell them, in the end, it's about flat Earth. And they're like, right? And they won't look into it at all. They won't.
It's because you use the word flat Earth. It's not flat.
Don't say that at first. Right?
It's not flat,
because
though.
Even the word science and geometry put most people off, right? They're like, fuck it. They already know what they need to know. So what my original question to you, Bev, was, how do we take exactly your logic, not just
it's not my logic.
The logic of what is
just logic.
Horizontal, right? What is horizontal? How do we take that to the next step to
no.
folks,
We use
right? Because you can't say the word flat Earth.
Yeah, we use level being horizontal in reality to explain logically the process that's occurred to people because you can take them through the process. You can take them through the basic process and they'll agree that level is horizontal. And once you've gone through that process, you can then ask them how they imagine that water level being horizontal can wrap around a ball. And at that point...
At some point, we have to bring up the idea, right?
The idea of the ball.
Yeah.
Right. After you've shown them reality, you then show them the ball. You never need to bring up flat ever. Because flat Earth is a misnomer and a label that you have to take on that means stupid. It means retarded. That's all flat Earth means now.
I get it. It means terrorist, communist, racist. It means all these things, right?
Well, I don't know. I think it just means absolutely stupid. Because they've got an idea in their heads that science is the all-knowing entity of all knowledge, when it's not. It's just it's a way to wrap people's minds around.
So Bev, on mainstream media, they've talked about the
I don't know. I don't watch it.
I know. I don't either. But I watch YouTube of independent folks who would like, look, this is what the mainstream media is saying. I don't have TV.
I don't listen to anybody that says.
Shit,
if
right?
anybody says to me, the mainstream media says, I say I don't want to know. Why are you telling me?
They're saying exactly what you were saying, and we are saying.
So are you taking someone else's word? What mainstream media says, Aaron?
Okay, listen.
You're not finding out for yourself.
How easy would it be to deceive a whole bunch of people when they watch mainstream media? And the flat Earth topic has come up, right? So it's in folks' minds. They've heard it, right?
Listen,
it's a new
I
topic,
struggle enough what's in my mind and the way to order it. I do not want to think about anybody else. There's some weird people out there.
Then listen, Ben. if we're going to try to affect any
I'm not.
more logic, right? More spread of logic.
No,
right?
logic just is.
But people don't have it, right?
Well, yeah, but that's like, listen, I'm not. I've got no superpower that you can give logic to people. It's not like that. Whoever it is, the individual has to want to learn it. Now, it's like if you've seen The Matrix and you see the people that want to go back in The Matrix, well, it's like that. You offer them a piece of logic, a piece of reality, and they'll... most of the time, people will shout at you and look at you weird, and you can see their eyes glaze over. They don't want to hear it anymore, and you know to stop talking to them, because if you do, they'll break down. They'll go against you, so you have to stop it. Now
they'll get aggressive. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
everybody that gets really aggressive goes to Jen Panda's server.
So knowing what we know,
what are you trying to allude to, Aaron? This next step? Are you trying to allude to let's go knocking on the government's door?
I think he wants a leader.
And say, and so no government. Come on, Mr. Government. Let's start teaching everyone that Earth is flat. Is that what you're trying to allude to? Because what's this next step?
I agree with Bansaw's come from. Like, it doesn't matter if we get out of our bubble as long as we know logic and we have this circle of information. You know, Bev and Ranty and Bandsaw and just the idea to correct
Aaron,
the mind.
Aaron, what are you doing?
Hold on.
No, you're just talking shite. Like, yeah, don't think of me and Bandsaw and Ranty as your leaders. Like, well, that's not what we are, Bandsaw. You don't want to be. You don't want to be Aaron's sort of leader or anything, do we? It's all right. You don't need to follow us or anything, Aaron. You'll be all right.
All I said was you and every folks, they offer information, right? So I can contemplate it in my mind. I can think about it. I can digest it. I can create my own, like Bandsaw said, my own little bubble of, you know what? This is logical, right? Now, I can watch a movie. That's not reality. I get it. But when I go outside, I go to work, or I raise kids, or you grow food, or you just live your life. That's reality. I get it. Now, every time I leave my bubble, I have to go into a place where everybody else is like this fucking weirdo to me, right?
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
That's your
Why?
Aaron. That's your issue.
Roboting.
Yeah, that's your issue that you're hanging around with all these weirdos.
Dude,
Sorry.
you don't want us to sort that out for you. I can't do that.
I can't stand people anymore after all the information you guys have provided to me. Right?
I tell you what, we'll get DP to do you a t-shirt. That'll sort you out. You can have the power of a DP t-shirt.
I love my t-shirt. My on the level page. I love it.
You need to pick your friends better, Aaron.
Yeah.
Right? You need to pick your friends better.
I can't have
Seriously.
any friends anymore.
Like if you look,
just stand up for yourself, man. Just be strong.
Globe face.
What the fuck?
Go out outside your bubble.
I am
I
me.
love my fucking friends. They think I'm the fucking craziest motherfucker going around, but I love my friends. Right? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Mine too, but that's kind of still considered in our bubble. They might be on the edge.
Oh, but so it's Aaron. It's how you conduct yourself with people, right? You know, if you want to fucking rumpus people, of course you got to piss people off, and people don't want to associate with you. Conduct yourself in a nice way, and everything's good. Sun comes up in the morning, goes down at night.
Everything is good. Everything is okay.
Yeah. But you're looking at everyone as though they're weirdos. Why would you? Why waste that energy doing that?
To you?
Why?
Because it's fun. Yeah.
Do I waste my time thinking that I associate with weirdos? No, I just go out to have a good time, my friend.
No. You didn't listen. I said when I have to leave the bubble, I have to deal with weirdos. Deal with them.
But I'm not going out of my bubble, Aaron. I am not dealing with dickheads like Rumpus, right? My bubble doesn't include these people. My reality. I don't have reality saying I live on a big blue spinning testicle. My reality says to me, I've got to go to work. I've got to earn money. I've got to look after my kids. I've got to grow my potatoes and carrots and all that sort of
When I
stuff.
go to Lowe's, right? When I go to Home Depot, or when I go to go outside our local area, right? You just see fucking idiots, dude. That's what I
people
see.
like Rumpus don't exist out there, though. People like Rumpus and George and all of that only exist
They do not
here.
exist in reality.
They only exist in this. I'm going to call this a community, and they are the toxic part to this community.
I'm not worried about all those voices. No. I'm just talking about what's the next step, because logically, Bev, you're talking about a human trait to understand what is logical, what is true or reasonable, or at least
my next step,
right?
Right, my next step, like I've always done, I've learned to live by the Logos. It tells me what to do all the time. I live my live my life by the seat of my pants, with Logos telling me what I'm gonna do next. And so the next thing I think at the minute is this bullying and horrible behaviour and people being bigoted against other groups of people. That's where I'm going next. People that think it's fine to be able to judge other people when everybody's an individual, that everybody's different, that no two people are the same, and no two people will have the same argument. So if you treat everybody as an individual and start getting that across, we might end up with a better community and not with all of this toxic, horrible hate that we have at the minute. And it's nasty. It brings everybody down. It gets everybody upset. It gets everybody on the back foot when people come in. And that's how the conversations start off. And it never progresses.
There are certain folks like us that can listen to other folks, even it's on a computer or a screen or something. You listen to them, you can tell they're genuine. You can tell they're not there to harm you, right? You pick it up, and so and you can also listen to the information that they're telling you, right? So like Bev, I do not have to believe you at all about your presentation last night on Brandon's. I don't have to, but it's logic. It makes sense, right? I get it, but all that I was hearing was words, right? Basically. I don't have to listen to Right the Hand. I don't have to listen to Pete Shea or Bandsaw or Effie or Travis or Ranty, or I don't have to, but it makes sense. Now, some other folks need like a visual type of interaction to say, oh, that makes sense, right? Because, we can sit here and talk and talk and talk. The community grows a little bit. We had 25 people on Ranty's tonight. After 4 years, so, Ranty doing all the hard work. Like, how do we grow that? What's the next step to get people's mind to even accept the fact that maybe they can click on that button and say, hey, you know what? I want to engage in this conversation because I saw this, right? I saw this logic, not
we
proof,
just keep doing what we do.
Right?
We just keep doing what
How
we
did
do.
you get here, Aaron? Everyone has their own personal path. They take put one foot in front of the other. We all get to where we go at whatever particular time we get there. You can't force anything on anyone. All you can affect is your
When
own
you guys
little
say
bubble.
force,
Right?
Banta, you better back the fuck up. I never said force anything
Right?
on anybody.
No,
Okay?
I'm not backing up. I'm fucking in overdrive at the moment, my friend. I'm in fucking overdrive because you're like, what's the fucking next? How are we gonna fucking move this fucking? How are we gonna fucking force it in fucking? Exactly. People take their own step, right? You got to breathe, Aaron. Breathe, relax. It's all right.
Yeah. I understand we can't force anything. That's why
Exactly.
there are certain ways to input senses, right? Senses. We have 5 of them: hearing, sight, taste, touch, sound, smell. Okay. Now, I got into conspiracies by listening, basically, right? But some people are visual. They want the actual visual effect. Okay. So I don't do any experiments. I don't force anything, but they're so visual that the media does present visual images of black holes and comets coming by, right? So they understand that information and they believe that it's real, even though there's no conversation about it. They're just like, okay, that's cool. So I was just wondering if Bev's
But that's their choice. That's their choice. They choose to believe and take in whatever they want to, right? They choose to do it. We choose to do what we do. They choose to do what they do.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the end of the story.
It is kind of, yeah.
Right?
Basically.
Well
because
said.
I get that. And Bev's example there of like, if you do get to talk and show somebody, you know, let's say like Dell on the street, right? You know, he had his computer out just showing images and stuff. You could see those people just thinking about what he was saying, you know. And so an experiment or an idea, like not an idea, but the logic that Bev is putting out, right? This is it, and it's, you cannot say that water does not.
So why aren't you doing that, Aaron? If you're concerned about the next step and what we might, why aren't you out there trying to make a bigger step?
Because I have no hope in society. That's why.
Okay, then. So just throw your hands up in defeat and don't worry about it. But put that onus on other people's shoulders to carry your burden.
No
Is that what
onus.
you're suggesting?
No onus. I didn't put an onus and say, Bev, you have to go out there and prove this to the world. I never said that.
But you want to know what the next step is. You want to know what Bev's next step is, what my next step is, whatever the next step is.
The best thing we can do is to teach our own children. Each of us do our own thing to teach our own children and talk to our own families. And if we all do then...
Your own bubble, Paige. Your own bubble.
Yep.
That is.
We're going to touch the entire world if everybody did that.
That is the answer. We.
I'm not doing this for me. I don't have these arguments with these idiots for me. I'm doing it for my 3 boys so that them and their children, you know, hopefully, can grow up in a world where we're actually honest about shit, you know?
Right, good time for me to go. Been killed,
All right,
guys.
Bev, you have a good sleep.
Catch you later.